live show. But at the same time, I'm also sad about what we will be talking about. Today, we want to talk about the Great Lakes region in Africa. We're talking about parts of East Africa, Burundi, Uganda, Rwanda, some parts of the Democratic Republic of Congo, some parts of Kenya, and so on and so forth, because of the unrest that we have in that area. It's been a lot since 1996, actually. Believe it or not, more than 6 million Africans have been killed in that region between 1996 and now. And let that sink in for a minute. I'm talking about 6 million human beings. 6 million is a huge number. It's bigger than some countries. More than 6 million Africans have been slaughtered, have been killed, men, women, pregnant women, children in this Great Lakes region. And believe it or not, it's not because Africa is being invaded, it's because we are killing each other. These are Africans killing Africans at the Great Lakes region. And do you know why? Because we do not see ourselves as one. We do not unite. That's why we do not unite. That's why this is happening. And that's why we need to talk about this today. And that's actually one of the reasons why Rwanda was invaded. So I have a lot of questions. Um, I have a lot of questions, like many of you. Why is it that in the Great Lakes region we are not united? We do not see ourselves as one. Why are we killing each other to the point where at least 6 million of us have been killed? By the way, a lot of people will tell you that um, that's an incorrect estimate. They will tell you that it's actually up to 12 million Africans that have been killed at the Great Lakes region. And so today we decided that to bring in people from both sides, people from Rwanda, people from the Democratic Republic of Congo, to come and enlighten us about what is happening at the Great Lakes region. You may be wondering, why should you care? I'm Nigerian. Why should I care? Well, because whether you like it or not, you are being affected. You are directly affected by what is happening at the Great Lakes region. For many people, I have talked about this on my show. The Democratic Republic of Congo is the richest country in terms of natural resources. It's supposed to be our Mecca. That's why we're supposed to visit every now and then, just to go and see the beauty of Congo. We're supposed to go there to see the big rivers, the big lakes of Congo, and so on. Tourism in the DRC alone should be bringing us Africans together to see this country that is known as the richest country, rich in mineral resources, in water, in wildlife, and so on and so forth. All kinds of species are there. So we're supposed to be gathering there as Africans to go and see and behold. But because of the unrest there, it's not even developed enough to be a tourist attraction for people. Not that you can go there right now, but there's also the issue of security, especially in the areas close to Rwanda. Now, as you're aware, a new war has broken out there last month. A new war started, and people are getting killed. And so we thought we would bring in people from both sides to enlighten us, because personally, every time that I talk about what is happening there, I see all kinds of comments. People telling me, well, you don't know what is happening there. You're not from there. You're Nigerian. What do you know? Keep your mouth shut. And so we reached out to people who know. Unfortunately, one of our panelists today is not able to join us because of an urgent surgery that she had to have. And then the second panelist, we just did not hear from him between last night and now. He said he sent an email. I did not get his email. If he's watching, he's a brother from Rwanda that is supposed to defend the Rwandan side of this story. But if he can still join us, we would love for him to join us. His name is Mr. Jean-Paul Ruhosha. He's the executive director of Congo today. He's actually from Congo, I believe, but he defends Paul Kagame. So we are looking for people that want to defend Paul Kagame as we discuss this today. But I'm very, very happy and very grateful that I have Claude Gutabuke here today. He's the executive director of African Great Lakes Action Network. My brother, thank you so much for joining us. Please make sure that you unmute yourself. I want you to start out by telling us your name the right way.
Thank you,
I think I
Sister
got it. Uh,
Viola.
thanks for
Yeah,
joining.
it's Claude Gatebuke. You
Gatebuke. That's
that's
what I
right.
said, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So,
And
you are very modest in introducing yourself, but you have been in this fight for freedom at the Great Lakes region for decades. And we met way back, way back, when we were both younger. when,
that's right.
when we were both younger and fighting for freedom at the DRC. But you know why I love having you on the show? It's because a lot of people may not believe this, but you are actually from Rwanda. You are Rwandan. Paul Kagame is the president of your country, but you are here today to tell us what you believe is his part in the ongoing unrest in the DRC. So, without further ado, my brother, you have all the time. And then I will be posting, since our other panelists were not able to join us, if the brother that wants to defend Rwanda decides to join us at any time, we would love for him to come. Otherwise, how will it be balanced? We want it to be balanced. So we want to know, we want you to educate us. And if there's any Rwandan watching this that wants to join us, to educate us, to tell us that Paul Kagame has nothing to do with what is happening at the Great Lakes region, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, please feel free to join us. While my brother is talking, or as soon as he's done talking, I will post the link for you to join us in the studio. Anybody that wants to join us in the studio. But please don't forget, the main purpose of us doing this is to remind us all once again that we are all one. We are all Africans. And an injustice at one part of Africa is an injustice to all parts of Africa. And that we can actually do more together. We can do more united. And lastly, to remind us that we have more in common than our differences. I think we wear these differences as if it's the best thing ever, but we have more in common than these differences that is tearing us apart and claiming lives. Okay, my brother, you have the floor. Thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you so much for the intro. I think you covered it all. Congo is really like the place that every African should be invested in protecting. So me being Rwandan is, at the end of the day, these borders that we have do not take away from the fact that a person is a human being. And what is happening to the Congolese people today it's a major, not only a tragedy, but also a serious atrocity. There is a genocide happening to the Congolese people. And the people who are committing this, and let me start by thanking you for giving this the attention that it needs, because as you said, 6 million, more than 6 million Africans have been killed. And most of the people do not even know that this has happened. That is half of the population of Rwanda. That's more than the population of a number, I think the majority of African countries, in fact. I know that we have large populations in the Great Lakes region of Africa, but there's only like, out of the continent, there is there's about 10 countries that have the majority of the population. Nigeria is, of course, one of them. Congo's one of them. Ethiopia is another one. And then a few others. If you add them, they make up more than half of the population of Africa. So the rest of the countries, they may be large, but have less people than we've had actually killed in the Congo. And the majority of the people who've been killed are children under the age of 5. So we are talking about babies. And it's important that we shine a light on what is happening, because most people do not really, like I said, are unaware. Um, so let's start with a little bit of the background. What we have today is it's a rebel group called the M23. But the M23 is not actually, when you look, I know that many people have probably seen pictures and videos of rebel groups in Africa and in other parts of the world. When you look at rebels, you usually will see somebody with a purple Kobe or Shaq jersey, some sandals, a stick. They're not as organized. When you look at the M23, it looks and feels like a conventional army, well armed, night goggles. I mean, everything, all the equipment for an official military, and that's because what is happening in the Congo is an invasion of Congo by both Rwanda and Uganda. And this is something that goes back to almost 30 years ago. In 1996, that's when Congo was invaded. And so you will see and hear a bunch of different acronyms. Today is the M23, and previously was some other name, CNDP, RCD. All of those, at the end of the day, is basically you have Rwanda and Uganda invading the Congo. Now, it doesn't stop there. Both the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, and Yoweri Museveni are doing this as part of their job as puppets of Western powers. They are doing it with the protection and the support, financial, military training, um, military financing, diplomatic cover, and even shielding them from accountability is being done by the US, the UK, and the European Union. And this is well documented. I'll give an example, a quick example. A couple of years ago, the European Union recognized that Rwanda and Rwandan troops were invading Congo, and they denounced it. But in their denouncing of it, they turned around and they sent $20 million, not for education, not for humanitarian aid, not for anything, but to the Rwandan military, because the Rwandan military is serving French oil company Total in Mozambique. Mozambique is way down in southern Africa, right next to South Africa. You have Rwandan troops there who are securing the resources for this company, French company Total. The same thing in Congo, right at the border of Uganda and Congo. There is oil reserves. Uganda has their troops occupying a part of Congo to secure oil interest for Total. Same thing is happening in the parts of Congo that Rwandan troops, disguised as the M23, are occupying. In this part, there is coltan. Coltan is used to power the electronics that we use. It's used in the green revolution, and that is happening today. The electric cars, the Teslas, the lithium batteries that are used in those things, and lithium batteries that are used in other things. The resources and the raw material used from there for those comes from the Congo. So I'm still connecting the dots. The European Union signed a memorandum of understanding for almost $1 billion with Rwanda to export raw materials. Those raw materials are not found in Rwanda. Rwanda doesn't have those resources. Rwanda does not have coltan. The amount of coltan that Rwanda exports, Rwanda is the number one exporter of coltan, but Congo has the largest deposits of coltan in the world. So what is happening? The war in Congo is a war of aggression, an invasion by Rwanda in Congo, a war of plunder and looting and stealing the resources of the Congo, mostly for the benefit of Western multinationals. And this is also very well documented. Plenty of documentation showing multiple companies from a variety of countries. Canada is has one of the largest number of companies that are exploiting Congo. You have the US, you have France, you have Belgium, you have Swiss companies. You have all kinds of companies that are in the Congo exploiting the Congolese. So what happens now when these invasions happen and they take over these towns? They go into these towns, and one of the first things they do is take over the mines. But when they go in, Rwanda uses the pretext that they're going in there to protect Kinyarwanda speakers or speakers of the Rwandan language, which is incorrect. They go in there to secure the mines. They also commit major atrocities. When you say it, my sister Adiola, when you say that it makes you sad that we are still having this conversation, it is really sad. The first thing they do, they go in there and they commit massacres. And they will go in, they will do things as horrible as opening women's wombs. They will amputate their genitals. I mean, they will kill everybody, including children and the handicapped and the blind and all kinds of people, just so that they can terrorize the community into submission. And so many people uh, flee, and Congo has more than 7 million displaced people. So what happens is there is invasion. It goes into an area. They displace the people. They massacre those who are there. Those who are still there, they end up displaced because they're afraid of these massacres. They of course, when you terrorize the women, you really pretty much tear at the fabric of the whole area. And then they take over these mines. They bring children. They have all kinds of people working in there as basically slaves. Children as 10, 11, 12-year olds are working in those mines, and that's just to keep the prices low for these multinationals. And the protection comes from the international community. In fact, most of the times, whenever there's been reports about the atrocities being committed by Paul Kagame's troops and Rwanda's troops in Congo, the U.S. mission to the UN has tried to block them. Multiple occasions, these reports have come out because somebody leaked them to the media. So there's all of this, excuse me, there's all of this protection that is afforded the perpetrators. And me being Rwandan, it's important that I see the Congolese people and anybody as another human being first before I look at the border, before I look at the passport, before I look at who they are, as far as whether I will call for justice for them or not. If a person is being harmed, justice needs to be served. So that is in a nutshell what is happening. If I can just summarize it, basically you have Rwandan troops and Ugandan troops in Congo serving as mercenaries of Western multinationals in Western countries. Because another thing, because people wonder, what do they give back to these countries? So when it comes to these companies, obviously I gave the example of uh, um, Mozambique and Cabo Delgado, where the oil reserves are, and you have Rwandan troops securing those resources for the French company. You have Rwandan troops and Ugandan troops securing mines for Canadian and Swiss and French and American and British companies in the Congo. They also are hired on international missions like those peacekeeping missions, and we know we have not seen peacekeepers actually keep peace in any place. But you have Rwandan troops that serve they've served in uh, Darfur, they've served in Central African Republic and Haiti, and in all those places, one of the things that's happened is that UN troops have been accused of abusing the local people, either taking part in the massacres or sometimes just creating such a horrible situation that the people are unsafe. And by the way, the Congo also has a UN peacekeeping mission that's been there for more than 20 years and does nothing to keep the peace for the people. So I wanted to give that background so that people understand and people know, because a lot of times people will think what is happening in Congo is some type of internal conflict, or um, the way that it's presented, especially by Kagame and his allies and his fans, is that there is like an ethnic issue in Congo. Congo has more than 350 ethnic groups, and before 1996, The only one period where there was so many people massacred was was during King Leopold's rule, when he terrorized the Congolese and killed millions of Congolese, committed a genocide against Congolese people. And now since 1996, when Congo was invaded, we've had more than 6 million people killed, rivaling the killings of King Leopold. Before that, between those two periods, there were no type of massacres like that. That isn't to say that people aren't stigmatized. There are, every person almost in Congo is a minority, because there are, like I said, 350 groups or ethnic groups in the Congo. And this is not a revolution. If you are staging a revolution and you are actually trying to free your people, why would you go and cut up women and open their wombs? Why would you go and amputate their, and go and rape them, and then and then amputate them and kill children and all kinds of people? And why would people flee when you show up? So this is a war of plunder. At the end of the day, it's about the resources in the Congo, and the importance of the Congo for Africa actually cannot be understated, because Congo alone can power the whole continent electricity wise. It can feed the whole continent. It's a country with so much potential. A free Congo is a free Africa, and we should all be pushing for the liberation and the freedom of the Congolese people, and making sure that the perpetrators are called out, and making sure that that the Congolese people get justice, because the only way to actually get peace in the region and get peace in the Congo is to make sure that the truth is told about what's happening, and that there is justice. Justice will lead the path to lasting peace, and lasting peace will lead to real prosperity in the region.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that opening remark. I have a lot of questions for you. I'm imagining that some of my viewers will also have questions for you. Please and please, if you have any questions for him, you can put them in the comment section for now. Very soon, I will post the link for you, anybody that wants to join us in the studio. But I also think it's very important to establish one more time, as more people are joining us, that you are actually from Rwanda. Please, let's get this straight. This is a Rwandan brother telling us that his president, Paul Kagame, has a lot to do with what is happening, the unrest that is happening in the DRC. Initially, when we planned this, we had people that were also we had someone that was also supposed to defend defend Kagame. And then last night he said that he sent an email. I didn't get it. He said he emailed my brother as well. He also did not get it. Or did you get an email from him?
No,
No.
I don't have an email. Yeah.
We don't know what the email is supposedly saying. Maybe the email is to tell us why he wouldn't be able to make it, but we did not get his email. In case he's watching this, Mr. Jean Paul from Congo, please know that we did not get your email. He was supposed to be here to defend Paul Kagame, because we want to make sure that this is balanced. And once again, we're just trying to understand what is happening at the Great Lakes region. I also need to say upfront that for Cloud to be here today, you are actually risking your life every time you talk about this. I think people need to understand that. And which brings me to a very important point. A lot of people defend Paul Kagame, they defend Rwanda, but what I do not understand is why they try to silence anybody that speaks against Paul Kagame.
Um,
There has been several stories of, activists that will speak out against Paul Kagame and then they disappear. Nobody is accusing Paul Kagame of killing anyone, but there's this general fear of speaking against Paul Kagame. That's not healthy, especially if you know that you are innocent. You should allow people to have their opinion publicly without being afraid of their lives. So let's start from there. As a Rwandan, my brother, why is it that the country of Rwanda as a whole doesn't necessarily support anyone speaking against Paul Kagame? Why is that?
well, Paul Kagame has used the story of the genocide that I survived. I think, my story is public. During that genocide, we had to flee and hide in so many places, and I'm grateful for all the people who gave us shelter, um, and who intervened. But at one point, I was actually even ordered and forced to dig my grave, me and my mother, during that genocide. So Paul Kagame has used this story of
What? Wait, don't just drop that on us and move on like it's nothing. Did you just say you were forced to dig your grave?
yes, yes,
Well, tell
I
us
was.
what happened.
So during when the genocide first started, we were in Kigali, and you had the Paul Kagame's forces, the Rwandan Patriotic Front, that was bombing the whole city and shooting itself into power. And then you have the genocidal forces, the extremist Hutu people that were going around killing Tutsis, from house to house. So we went into hiding, me and my mother, my two sisters, with a bunch of other people. There was a family that I'm very grateful for that took us in, and they had many people, and then it kept getting more and more dangerous. I mean, the bombs were dropping every day. And of course, people were getting killed. I mean, like bodies were piling up on the side of the street. Whenever you came out, and that's what we're seeing in the Congo today. And whenever you came out of the house, I mean, like the mixture of smoke from the bombs, the gunpowder, the burning structures, the dust, and the decomposing human flesh made you want to throw up. And now the bombings were getting more and more intense, and the family said, "You know what? All the people who are in this, um, um, the people who are in this house, we need you to stay safe." So we were gonna hire. Um, we're gonna hire a pickup truck to take you from the city, away from the city to parts of the countryside. So we fled to northwest Rwanda, town of Gisenyi, which is where my father is from. And when we fled, uh, we kept getting stopped at checkpoints. I think most people who know the Rwandan genocide probably have seen it in the film Hotel Rwanda, and that film also has like a bunch of checkpoints. So we're getting stopped at checkpoints, and at each checkpoint they would try to kill us, and every time somebody would intervene. And at one point, the we got stopped at a checkpoint, and they only this time, instead of like pulling everybody out and basically like they would pull us out and they point to like the woods and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna put you in there." And there were like piles of dead bodies. This time, it was just at one checkpoint, they pulled just me and my mother out of the truck, um, and they separated us. One side, they put me on one side of the road, put her on the other side of the road, and they ordered the truck to leave. All the people, my sisters, my little cousin, and a bunch of other people that were on that truck fleeing, they left, and we were desperate. So now, on this, after they separated us, a man looked me in the eyes. I remember, it's been 30 years since the genocide, but I remember this guy was wearing a blue tracksuit. He looks at me and he goes, "Say goodbye to life." And then they took us away from that street. They took us to this little carpentry shed in the middle of like a little bamboo forest. And at the carpentry shed, a bunch of people ran up, mostly women, some children, and older people. And they started like yelling at them, saying, "Hey, hey, leave them alone! Don't kill them! They've traveled so far. Why are you killing them and everything?" And so as they slowed down, the truck driver came back, and he came back twice. Both times, um, both times he came with a person. So it was two men, and the men started pleading for us. And these guys look at us and they say, "Go talk to those people over there that are yelling at us. Borrow some shovels and hoes and dig your graves because we have to bury you after we kill you." And as all this was happening, the truck driver comes back. And he comes back with those two men, and they start pleading, and it was like middle of the afternoon when we got to this place, like 2 or 3 p.m. It was pitch black when we finally, somebody, one of the negotiators said, you know what, this little boy and his mom, they're not going to make it 5 miles from here without somebody killing them. Let somebody else kill them. And somehow they agreed to that. We got back on the truck. Everybody was so desperate. They were crying. My little sisters and little cousin were all, crying. And I mean, it was like I was so desperate in this place. In the same way that when the genocide started and the bombing started, um, at the beginning, I was shaking. My stomach was bubbling, and then eventually I became numb in this place. But anyway, we got back on the truck, and we got stopped at a number of other checkpoints, but we made it to another home. This family that we got to said, if you go to the village where your father's from, you're not gonna make it. We're gonna keep you here. So we stayed with that family, and we stayed with our family, and the family kept taking in more and more people. There were people fleeing the genocide and people fleeing the war. And I mean, the house was a 3 bedroom house. It ended up, there were like more than 30 of us in this house that had a mother, a father, and 2 young children. They took all of us in. And when the bombings came, and they were like indiscriminately bombing all of us, that's when we crossed the border into the Congo. And so my journey was, from Kigali to Gisenyi to Congo, and then to Uganda, Kenya, and eventually to the US. um, so
Wow.
that's kind of the short story of all of that. But
Oh,
now,
wow.
back to the point I was making.
Mm-hmm.
This genocide that Paul Kagame, in fact, that he triggered by, and I'm saying this because this book right here, Survivors Uncensored, um, in this book, we collected testimonies from survivors, multiple survivors of the genocide in Rwanda. Um, some of the testimonies we have in here are from Kagame's former bodyguards. They talk about the plotting and planning of the shooting of the plane, which is the event that triggered the genocide. So Paul Kagame, whose family was not in Rwanda when we were, going through this genocide, who was actually bombing the country into submission to take over, has used this genocide as he has milked it and gotten so much mileage out of it, as a way to stay morally legitimate and to continue to like export violence into the Congo. And anytime somebody brings up his crimes, he starts accusing them of either denying the genocide, or having genocide ideology, or just it's some type of, or they will say that you are part of like a genocidal family, or and things like that. Now, in Rwanda, they have laws that they created to silence people, including genocide survivors. I've seen your videos on Kizito Mihigo. Kizito Mihigo sang a song, a gospel song, and it was about the fact that there were Tutsis killed in the genocide and other people killed in genocide that are not other crimes that are not known as genocide or not classified as genocide. Kagame got so mad at him, he had him kidnapped, tortured, and imprisoned. They sentenced him, this is a gospel singer, imprisoned him to 10 years, pardoned him after 4 years. Then they arrested him again, and 4 days after the rearrest, he was found dead in custody. And, me personally, I believe they killed him, because there are so many people who get killed in custody in the prisons in Rwanda. So he does those things to set an example, to silence people, to make people believe that, if you ever speak about him, he will kill you. But the question I always ask whenever people talk about like the dangers that I'm in, which you've seen like the harassment in person, and all of that. The
Let me
the
stop you real quick, because I'm. By the way, I have been looking at the comments. Trust me, you do not want to see the comments. And the comment has basically echoed the same thing that I said earlier, that every time we try to talk about this, it's as if there are some Rwandans that just comes and attack. And I am inviting them. You can come on the show. I'm going to post the link. If you have anything to dispute in what he is saying, you can come on the show. Now, I'm going to read some of the comments
yes,
and
please bring them
also
on.
ask you some questions for clarifications. So, MP44, first of all, it would be good if you actually use your name, your actual name, instead of these code names, so that we can know who's talking. This person said this guy doesn't understand the problem with Eastern Congo, and he thinks he comes from a genocide family. We're not sure, but do your research. He's telling me that. And then somebody named Yawa says this guy is a liar, and then he says stop lying. He kept writing that. Um, Also, Bushebu Bulombo says he is not lying. You have people who are for what you're saying. You have people who are against what you're saying. Yawa once again was asking what genocide did he survive. Zuma Slayer says you fled because your family was part of the genocidal maniacs. We don't want you in Rwanda. And then Kashan Alan says he's actually an idiot. Ignore Kashan, ignore Kashan. But the reason that I am saying all this, Zuma once again keeps saying that he's lying, his father was a genocide. The reason I'm saying all this is just to buttress my point that there's something that I don't understand about Rwandans. Anytime someone accuses their president of having a part, having a hand in what is happening in the DRC, the first thing that I see them do is attack the person. And I'm trying to understand why that is, because I'm Nigerian. People talk about our issues in Nigeria all the time. We have a lot of issues in Nigeria, like a lot, a lot, a lot. And so if someone is talking about what is happening in Nigeria, as Nigerians, we first of all listen. We may attack you, but we first of all listen to know, okay, maybe this person knows what they're talking about, and if we realize, oh yeah, yeah, you're right. Have you heard? Even this happens, like we don't hide it. We put our dirty laundry out there because we want Nigeria to change. And we're not afraid of talking about what is happening in Nigeria. We have a lot of clueless leaders. Now, even if we have leaders that are doing well, we praise them for doing well, but we still tell them we are watching you on Plasma TV. Just because you are doing well now doesn't mean that if you mess up that we won't call you out. But from what I see with Rwandans, and I'm going to read some of the comments that I've seen. This is from Kimeyi Patrick, and I should have been showing the ones that I read earlier. I'm truly sorry. I thought I was clicking on them. This person says Kagame is here to stay. Rwanda doesn't bow to anyone or answers to anyone. Y'all keep yapping this background noise. No Congolese is safe until Congolese Tutsi are free. See, okay, so there are two things in this comment. This person is here to defend Kagame, but they're also repeating a rhetoric that Kagame has been repeating to us for decades, that this is all about trying to protect the Tutsis in Congo. But when you follow the pattern of the invasion, even the invasion this year, after invading, they went to they kill women, they kill children, they have raped some women and even burned them. This January, this February, they have raped
Yeah.
hundreds of women, they've burned them alive.
Hmm.
And you can't, and it bothers me that some Rwandans are not asking, so how is this protecting the Tutsis in Congo? How are we, how is this the our way of protecting the Tutsis in Congo? In Congo, I'm sorry. I am not from the Great Lakes region. I'm not from Rwanda. I'm not from Congo. I'm from Nigeria. We're trying to make sense of what is happening. We're trying to understand what is happening. And I just want to appeal to Rwandans that may be watching this. Just give us your insight without abusing anyone, without insulting anyone. Make us understand your side of the story and without defending your president. Your president has a lot of allegations from the UN, from various organizations saying that he has a hand. I'm pretty sure he doesn't need you to defend him. You can just share with us what you believe is happening without insulting anyone. Now, while you speak on that, my brother, I'm going to post the link to for anybody that may wants to join us. This person is Nigerian, is saying thank you for providing us with his insights. Um, Muhira says that's not true. Everybody has the right to speak up. Okay, he's talking about in Rwanda, everybody has the right to speak up, but they have to follow the guidelines. Otherwise, we'll go back and to the. I'm guessing they're saying that the genocide will happen again. Okay, so do you have the right to speak up if you still have to follow a guideline to speak up? That is confusing for me. I'm not saying you don't have a right to speak up, but it's confusing if I have to follow a guideline to speak my mind. All right, so I'm gonna let you speak about all this, and real quick, Cave Vlog is telling us that the reason that Jean Paul bailed out on us, Jean Paul was supposed to come here and defend Paul Kagame. Um, he was telling us that he's actually Rwandan, that he's of Rwandan origin. Did you know this?
No, I mean, I know him as a Munyamlenge person from the Banyamulenge community,
Okay.
and I've seen him on a this very recent time on a broadcast saying that the M23 have legitimate, like their cause is legitimate.
To
Um,
invade. Okay.
yeah, but
So
as far
my
as his nationality, as far as I've always known him, he's presented himself as a Congolese.
he presents himself as a Congolese, but this person is saying he's actually of a Rwandan origin. But you know, my question to you as we go on is, are you Hutu? Are you Tutsi? For some people who are saying that you were part of the people that committed the genocide, do you want to? I mean, your family, I should say, or your dad. Do you want to clear that? And then let's move on to the next question. And then I'm going to
Yeah.
post on the screen the link for people to join us. So you can join us with your video, with your camera if you want to. You can turn off the camera if you don't want us to see your face. You can disguise your voice if you think that your life will be endangered. There are some apps that can help you to disguise your voice. Look for it in the App Store and just download it so that you can tell us things without anybody being able to trace it to you. Because there are people who legitimately feel like their lives are being threatened whenever they talk about what is happening in the DRC.
All right. So you were asking for me to clear up whether my father participated in the genocide in Rwanda or not,
Not,
right?
not me. It's just based
Okay.
on the
Yeah, I
question.
mean, you want me to answer that question.
Yes,
So,
if you don't mind.
the genocide. Let's just so that I love keeping it real, like your show. The genocide happened in. Can you help me here? It happened in what year?
1994.
Okay. So my father left Rwanda in 1992. He was not in Rwanda when the genocide happened. So
Which
how did
was
he?
why he wasn't with you and your mom and your sisters
There
when you
you
were
go.
trying to flee. Okay.
There is the answer. So how did he take a part in the genocide? In the genocide that happened 2 years after he had already left the country. So this is the type of stuff that we see with Kagame supporters. They always make up stories. They come, they will accuse you of crimes you didn't commit. I mean, people who survived the genocide, they accuse them of denying the genocide when they, Kagame's troops were actually part of the whole chaos in the genocide. So, this type of allegation, obviously, I'm sure they will continue to repeat that because they are shameless liars. And, when you when you speak up, they will accuse you. Like I said, they'll accuse you of genocide crimes. The reason we were able to come to the U.S. is because my father was in the U.S. And the when the genocide happened, he had left Rwanda 2 years before. So somebody tell me, please, sister, help me here. How does somebody commit genocide in a country that's thousands and thousands of miles away from this far of a distance?
Hmm. Okay, thanks for
Right. So the
clarifying that.
yeah.
Hopefully,
So
this is just for those who have been asking in the comment section. All right, so I
now the other thing I wanted to address is the guy
uh-huh.
who said no Congolese is safe until the Congolese Tutsis are free. Does that statement is full of murder, is full of atrocity. They will kill anybody and everybody. They say no Congolese is safe. Does that you understand? Like they will massacre anybody, and that is what they do when they go into the Congo. That's what the Rwandan troops do in the Congo. And so, I mean, this was somebody who was saying he, on one hand, he's defending Kagame and supporting Kagame, and at the same time, he's saying that they will massacre basically until the Congolese Tutsis are free. Which again, even that you think about the period between King Leopold and 1996 was almost 100 years. They didn't have those problems. Like they were not getting massacred and everything. And today they're using that as a pretext. Another thing that I think is important. One of the co-authors of this book, "Survivors Uncensored," just to show you the kind of how genocide is really used as a as blackmail against Rwandans and internationals. The international community. One of the co-authors, David Dayambaje, he was a child. Um, he was a baby during the genocide. He was picked up in a pile of dead bodies. He doesn't know his mom. He doesn't know his dad. He doesn't know, where he was born, what part of the country he's from, or anything like that. He grew up in Rwanda, highly discriminated because they did not accept him as a genocide survivor, because in Rwanda they treat being a genocide survivor as some kind of government um, um, as they treat you, they treat it as a government rank, almost like, hey, we're gonna give you that designation instead of being the experience that somebody actually survived. So they did not consider him as a survivor. He didn't get the support that the genocide survivors got. And when he became a little bit older as an adult, he realized there were a lot of people like him, a lot of young men and women like him. He formed an organization. The organization he formed, Hope for the Future Foundation, he started, somebody in the media picked it up, and he started talking about the plight of those kids, the fact that they could not get IDs, they were not getting health care. They were basically a completely neglected community. When he got into the media, they arrested him. They kidnapped him from the house, arrested him, put him in an undisclosed prison for more than 3 months in a dark room painted black. That is the condition that he was in. And then when they let him out, they said, go and say that the things that you said were lies. Go and debunk basically yourself from the things that you claimed. And he refused. When he refused, they started going after him again, and somebody tipped him off. And when they tipped him off, he fled. He left Rwanda. So this book is plenty. It's got plenty of stories. Now, the other thing that I would say, that I would add to this, is the fact that um, it's been documented. This isn't just from me, but also in this book we have people who confess to the fact that they were recruited by Rwanda's government to basically be part of Rwanda's Kagame's online troll army. Like whenever you, like you said, whenever you talk about Rwanda and the atrocities in Congo and stuff like that, you have like people coming out the woodwork to come after you. They even use AI. There's articles about this. You don't have to believe me. You can look it up, and it's right there. So some of these people that are coming here, they have no idea. They are just doing things that they are fed. It's the same song. They will sing the same song over and over and hope that it sticks. That's pretty much what it is. So anybody that speaks up, it is dangerous because obviously, especially when you speak on large platforms, because they will come after you. They will kidnap people, like they kidnapped Paul Rusesabagina, the real life hero of the film Hotel Rwanda. Like they kidnapped Kizito, like they kidnapped other people, and sometimes they'll assassinate the people. These are things that happen. I mean, there's so many stories. I don't want to go into all of those stories because we're talking about what's happening in the Congo. Um, but
Hmm.
that's how
Okay.
you see all of these people, coming out the woodwork to defend such a horrible um, perpetrator of such, I mean,
Thank you.
like, this so deadly. But then here's the last thing I would say on this: the danger, right? The fact that I'm speaking, and people saying, yeah, yeah, this puts you in danger. I always say yes, but guess what? There's more than 6 million Congolese people who were killed.
Hmm.
Didn't say anything. So we have, us as survivors of these atrocities and the things that happen in the region, we have a responsibility to be the voice for those people who were silenced forever. And they were silenced. Well, they're not silenced forever because we're telling their stories, but we have a responsibility to share those stories and to make them public.
Well, thank you so much for saying all this. I see some people already joining us in the studio, and I want to, quickly go to them. If you have any questions for my guest, or if you have a comment that you would like to pass across, I'm happy that you touched on a number of things. But I think personally, for me, I've always wondered why it is very, very important. Please don't misquote what I'm about to say. It is very, 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 very important for us not to forget the genocide in Rwanda, the lives that were lost. 800,000 human beings. And I'm so happy that even in Rwanda they have a museum, the Genocide Museum, to educate people about what happened in 1994. There's movie about it. Like, we all are aware, and we dare not forget. But what I don't understand is, when would we have a memorial for the 12 million that have now been killed in the DRC in the name of revenging the 800,000 that were killed in Rwanda? 800 million is a huge number. But then let's even take the 6 million, you know, the conservative estimate. That's way more than the 800,000. Sorry, 800,000. And then you have at least 6 to 12 million. Why are we not outraged? Why are we not talking about this? And why is it that every time we try to talk about the 6 to 12 million, some people say we are trying to deny the genocide that happened in Rwanda? We are not denying that a genocide happened in Rwanda, but it's as if we are expected to deny that a genocide has been taking place next door since 1996. Every time that that Rwanda invades, or the M23 invades Congo, a genocide is taking place. And it's like we are not supposed to recognize that. So that's the one thing that confuses me. I want to start letting in my guests. The first person I have is Carl, and
Can
then
I say something about that, please,
yeah, yeah,
on the
sure.
genocide? There was a time when I was doing a presentation and somebody said that I was denying the genocide, and then somebody in the audience said, "But he's talking about so many genocides. If you want to accuse him of maybe like of recognizing too many genocides, go ahead and do that. But don't accuse him of, denying genocide." And what you're saying is correct. Recognizing the genocide in the Congo and calling for justice for the Congolese people does not negate genocide that happened in Rwanda. It does not negate genocide that happened to any other people in the world. So I think that's important, an important point.
And I also think it's important the fact that this lady is bringing up, Sebi Kalis, that even in the genocide, even in Rwanda, it wasn't just the Tutsis that were killed, that
That's correct.
Hutus were also killed. I don't think that's emphasized enough. So, all right, Carl, thanks for joining me today. Please tell us what you would like to contribute to this conversation.
Thank you so much, Adeola, for hosting this. I'm a Congolese American, originally from Kivu. I'm a survivor of all those massacres since the 1996. And as I can say, as I thank you, Claude, as well. I've seen Claude so many times, and I can attest to what Claude is saying, that it's 100% true. Because I was born in Bukavu. During the Rwanda genocide, I was in Bukavu, and my family, I can tell you all, I'm not only from Congo, but since my father was doing business, petrol business in that area, so I had friends who both Tutsi and Hutu in Rwanda. So I visited Rwanda before this whole mess of 1990, and I'm from Congo. I'm a Congolese. So, and I visited many parts of the of the African continent, and now I'm in US. This is what I can say: our brothers Banyarwanda of Tutsi, they have some mentality of of wanting to push only their narratives. And in Congo, the problem which we have is that their loyalty is based on the leadership which is in another country, which is in Rwanda. I've had many debates with our brothers, even friends, because if I can give my background, my father is originally from Uvira. Anybody who knows about Uvira, who have heard about Mulenge, will know that the Mulenge village is a Bafuliru village. My father is in Mufuliru. My mother is from Bahema. Bahema is a Congolese authentic ethnic tribe group, which you can relate them to, the subgroup of Nilotics as the Tutsi in Rwanda and Burundi, or the Hima in Uganda. But this is one thing which my grandfather used to tell me. We know that our brother, since the 89, when we go to visit him, he was telling us that we know that our brother in Uganda and in Rwanda, they have an agenda. We don't want to partake to that agenda because we are Congolese, authentic Congolese, and we don't want trouble to this country. So, first of all, I would like to clarify this. There's no such, because a lot of people have been making this mistake. There's no such a thing as Congolese Tutsi. Why? I'll say that. Yes, there is Congolese of Rwandan origin who may happen to be Tutsi or Hutu. Why there is no Congolese Tutsi? Because can you have a Tutsi, an American Tutsi? Anthropologically and historically, that's the idea which they are trying to sell out there. Because historically, our brother Tutsi and Hutu, they are not they are not natives. They didn't have what we can call pre-colonial kingdom, which used to be in Congo before colonization. They didn't have a king. They didn't have what you can say traditional land. Now, what they are trying to do with this neologism of Mulenge is to force, because they have the backing of powerful country and a lot of multinational, to force the idea that there is now a tribe which was created in 1996, or if you go back, the ethnologist was created in 1968 in Uvira, and I know of it because one of my uncle, used to be among the Bafuliru traditional council, and when they created that, and when the guy Gisaro Mhoza popularized that. They were invited to Bafuliru traditional council meeting to tell them that they should stop that because they are trying to do a usurpation of traditional land, because that village is Bafuliru village. It's only the place where, when they started running in Rwanda since the 1910, 1920, they were welcomed and placed there as our brothers African. Now, ask them, since those years, did we have any problem among us? Not really, because it's Bafuliru, Bavira, who used to even help their kids go to school. Another lie which they are trying to put out there is like Congolese are targeting our brother Tutsi to genocide them. This is a lie. If you go in many reports, as I said, I'm from Uvira. I nearly got killed in Uvira in 1998 again. They gathered all the male, young from 15 years old to like 40 years old. They gathered in different stadiums. And the plan, it was to kill all of us during RCD. If Claude remember RCD rebellion, you know, it was,
Yeah,
and
I referred to it.
yes, and it's not only in Uvira. It was done in Bukavu, in Goma simultaneously. What helped us is this group, which sometimes you hear, they call it Mai Mai or Wazalendo, and they are trying to portray as if that group is fighting the government. Not true. There is some out of the, when they put forward like there is other 100 other than M23, there is other 150 group militia Congolese. You have to understand how those militia were born. It's because when like young guys like us or our parents, our uncle, they saw that the Congolese army is not able to protect them in their villages, in the area where they were, and because we know our brothers from Rwanda, especially the aristocracy or the group, the Kagame gang, which is there. We know their plan, we know their agenda. So they decide to defend themselves, to resist, even if they didn't have arms. From 1996, they've been resisting. Most of groups are like that. It's only that in between those groups now, of course, there will be some other group which are infiltrated by bandits. But most of those groups were created as a resistance against the Rwandan occupation of Kivu and Congo. So that's a few things that I would like to contribute so that people may start understanding. And also, there is a video which is circulating of Nyerere saying that they were there before the splitting of Africa. That's not true. And we are preparing ourselves to draw the response on all these media so that we can clarify with scientific proof that our brothers, yes, they have a Congolese citizenship. We cannot stop them from being Congolese. Yes, we consider them as Congolese of Banyarwanda, but they don't have a traditional land in Congo. It's not true, because even their own scholar tried to mislead, but it was debunked so many times. People have to understand that Nyerere, if you read the book World War, Africa's World War I, page 65, you'll understand that Julius Kambarage Nyerere was among the leaders who was trying, because Nyerere had a beef with Mobutu for a long time, since the death of Lumumba. Another thing, I'm a grandson of a Lumumbist. My grandfather was among the Lumumbists, so I know that situation enough for that. So Nyerere was among the leader who was putting other leader together so that to overthrow Mobutu. That's why in 1996 he went to New York to defend, because remember, you see, I can use the example of US when they wanted to invade Iraq. You remember that Colin Powell went to UN and defended that Iraq had biological weapon, so they can use that pretext to invade Iraq. It's the same thing which Nyerere was doing. He was using the neologism of so-called Banyamulenge being killed in Congo or being discriminated, not being Congolese, as a pretext that they can attack Congo in 1996. But it's not factual. There's no scientific proof to back up that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carl. That was a really comprehensive history lesson for us. I personally wish I know all the places you are naming, because I'm trying to follow, and then you would say another name, and I'm like, trying to look it up,
Uh,
I think we need to do more of this. I
yes, I'll
am
be more than welcome. We have a partner. We have we have a few people who have done scholarship research on this. So I'll link up my email. We will be more than happy to come and explain everything with scientific proof.
awesome. I am looking for Rwandans that would, come here to let us hear. I don't want to say defend Paul Kagame because he doesn't need anyone to defend him, but I do notice that a number of people here are defending Paul Kagame in the comment section, even though, no one has accused him of anything. We're just going by some of the evidence that have been provided by the UN that this is what we are hearing. And other people are talking about their story. Um, so if you would like to come here and talk about the Rwandan side of the story, please and please be my guest. I keep posting the link. Another person that I have in the studio, thank you so much, Omkao. I also have KV Log Levy. I know that normally I tell people to turn on their video camera, but I know that this is a sensitive case. So if people don't want to turn on their video camera, that's fine by me. If you feel comfortable turning on your video camera, please be my guest. I have K Love, and then I have Congo Tony, and then I have someone called Yo-Yo. He's waiting in the studio. So K Love, let's hear from you what you have to say about this. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Adiola. Thank you so much, Claude. I'm so glad to be here. I'm not going to take too much of your time. I would love to turn off my camera, but it's because my background is not looking that great. So I'd rather keep it off for now. I hope you
You
guys are okay
you
with that.
can move somewhere else. It's
Sure.
just it's better
I,
when
I'm,
we
I'm I'm
see
actually not
your
gonna.
face.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna take too much time. I would like to speak from a perspective of a Congolese
So
who
we
has
were
lived
hearing
at
you
in.
clearly, but now your voice went down.
Oh, okay, my apologies. Are you guys hearing me now?
Yeah,
Can you
go
guys hear
ahead.
me now? Okay.
Yes.
Yes. So I was saying I would like to speak from a perspective of a Congolese who has lived with Rwanda people in a refugee camp in a particular country. And I've got to learn a bit more about this whole thing because I only like was born later in 1998, but I also was I'm a Congolese person who fled the war, or my family rather fled the war on the eastern side of Congo. I'm actually Murega or Balega people. So I don't really want to take too much time. I would like to speak from a perspective of like someone who really understand what is happening in terms of why I do feel there are a lot of Rwandan people who defend Paul Kagame. I personally think it is something that is done out of fear. It is something that is done out of not clearly understanding what is happening outside of Rwanda. So there is a whole propaganda that goes on within Rwanda where I even think their social media, whatever is being pushed to them ideologically, is something that made them to see Paul Kagame as sort of like a hero. And they tend to ignore some of the things that we have seen on the outside of Rwanda. So, as a Congolese myself, I've done my research and I've done most of my research in terms of understanding the whole politics of Rwanda. There's people like Victoria Ingabire, who's obviously an opposition leader in Rwanda, who hasn't had, I would say, any sort of like um, political campaign that was successful. If not, she had to be thrown either in jail or taken to court for some kind of a reason. I've not seen any crime that this lady has committed, but she is obviously of an opposition party in Rwanda. There is Diana Rigwara, who obviously was murdered, I believe, a few years ago. Again,
No.
also another political or politician in Rwanda.
K Flag, it's her father that was killed. Diane, we got her still alive. Her sister was killed. Her sister died
Is
too a couple of years ago.
Did you see me like with big
Yeah,
eyes? Like what, Diana?
yeah,
Because I've been following
uh,
her story. Her sister
yeah.
died.
Her sister
so
died in a mysterious death
Oh,
also, and this is a little bit of a suspicious death.
hmm. The
Yeah.
one that they were going to arrest with her, but
yeah.
they let her because she's American citizen,
Yes, yes. The one who I think she spent maybe 1 or 2 days arrested with her and her mother, but then
and
they
then they
released
released
her.
her because she's
Yeah.
American citizen.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't know she died. This is
Exactly.
oh,
Yeah.
Miss
So
Diana.
that's my point exactly here.
For
Thank
those that
you.
may not understand,
Thank you
sorry,
so
for
much.
those that may not
Mhm,
understand,
mhm.
Miss Diana was trying to run against Paul Kagame. She wanted to be president. She was running against Paul Kagame when all kinds of stories started surfacing. They said that she posed naked and so on, like just sponsored story, really trying to discredit her. And then they arrested her, of course, her dad, and so it's. Anyways, let's keep going.
Yes, so thank you so much. Thank you so much, Adiola, for the clarity, and Claude as well. So it's issues like this that I feel like, again, this is news that is coming from Rwanda, which people should get some clarity on. But we never seem to get any sort of clarity on any situation, whether it comes to the politics in Rwanda, whether it comes to opposition parties, people are being thrown in jail. Like the musician that Claude actually mentioned earlier on, I actually even forgot about him as well. And the whole point that I'm trying to make, and I'm gonna land my plane here, is that I believe Rwandan people tend to think that because of what they had experienced back in '94, they are sort of like a special type of group who needs special assistance and attention at all times. And I feel like it's not fair because every African country has experienced some kind of atrocities. We all have a history. We all have faced problems. And as a Congolese person, I don't see my Rwandan brothers as enemies. I've never seen them as that. I have friends who are from Rwanda who are, in fact, fleeing this Paul Kagame regime. I have a friend whose father was killed mysteriously as well. He was a politician in Rwanda and they fled. We were both in the refugee camp, but then his father passed away. So these kind of issues they keep arising, and Rwandan people are being ignorant of the fact that all they need to do is just learn a bit more about their neighbors. I would love for the peace to actually just reach in Congo so that I can go back and I can have my neighbor country, which is Rwanda, and travel back and forth. And also just to again, not to take too much time, whatever is happening in Congo right now and in Rwanda is the reason why I believe, and I made that comment. I said the reason why the brother who did not pitch up, who's obviously defending Paul Kagame, cannot pitch up. I cannot speak for his reasoning and not to insult his decision, but I do feel is because maybe he feels he's in a position where he cannot say anything defensive right now because of what's happening currently in Congo. So the latest news that has come out, and I feel like a lot of people are not being informed of this. Whatever is happening in Congo, the news usually tends to come a bit too late. You cannot rely on Western media to tell you what is happening in a country that's almost remotely not in AI, that does not have any latest technology to put news out there. M23 has now they've divided themselves with Nanga, who was obviously one of the he obviously is a Congolese politician. They've divided themselves. He has sent out a notice on, I believe it was on Twitter, where he's like distancing himself from M23. So my question is now, with their leader distancing himself from the group, which is supposedly going to go to Kinshasa, what is going to happen to M23, which they're supposedly fighting for a liberation for people who are not liberated? Okay, so I'm just going to leave that question right there. And I would like the Rwandan people to have some kind of conscious mind to actually just look at things from the outside and not be stuck in that, box that they've been boxed in for quite a while. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your comment. This is I'm not supposed to respond to this, but just in case there's anyone else out there thinking, fanaticism of idiots, the Nigerian ugly girl goes thinking it's Diana who died, not her sister. Okay. Uh, the just I'm not supposed to respond to this actually, but the last speaker, um, or someone said Diana died, and then you said it wasn't actually her, it was her sister. And the moment I heard that she died, I was like, wait, what are we talking about? So I didn't just go thinking that Diana died. It was because someone had mentioned it. But this is just to for you to know that it doesn't matter how much you insult me or insult someone else. Like for us, there's nothing here but love for you. I actually believe that someone like this, even though they put their name as love and only love, although they don't understand the meaning of love. But I believe that someone like this, it's a matter of education, sharing minds and being open minded. And that's one of the things that I have tried to emphasize since we started this show today, that we all need to be open-minded, because our main goal, the reason that we're doing this, is first of all to educate each other, to enlighten ourselves, but more so to be reminded that as Africans, we need to stop killing each other. We have more in common than our differences, and we need to let go of all these differences that is making us take sides, and looking at other people. You would describe someone as ugly, even though we all know that I'm way too beautiful for anybody to say, hey, we're not even going there. But for you to describe someone as ugly, as idiots, just because we're talking about, we're just sharing minds. This just goes a long way to tell us about the kind of person you are, which is, very, very sad that anyone would believe this. But honestly,
Sister Victor needs to pay another dowry.
I know, right? Victor needs to pay more dowry, another dowry. But
Yeah.
honestly, it is very heartbreaking for me to find out about Anne's death. Her name is Anne, right? Diana's
Mhm.
sister.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
and
child,
Diana.
child. This is just heartbreaking for me. The moment she said that she was running against Paul Kagame, I know they banned her from running, actually. They said that she was not allowed to run against the president. They arrested her and her mom. Can you imagine? Put her and her mom in
Yeah,
prison for at least a year. It's heartbreaking. And then you tell us there's freedom to do whatever in Rwanda, but then we are seeing stories like that, and we're inviting you. There's someone that I'm hoping will join us in the studio, because this person has not stopped yabbing you. I think their name is Zuma Slayer, and from their comments it looks like they are Rwandan, and they keep saying that don't deny that genocide happened in Rwanda, which we already covered. If you're really pissed by what Cloud is talking about, just come in the studio. There's no need to hide behind the keyboard of your computer or your phone. Just come in, turn on your camera. See, he turned on his camera and he's talking to us. So if you're bold enough, just come in. I'm not saying that you're not bold, but let's see it. Come join us in the studio. I keep posting the link for you to join us. And once again, this is the link for you to join us in the studio. All right. I have someone named Congo Tony in the studio. Congo Tony, thank you so much for joining us today. Please, let's hear from you. If you are comfortable turning on your video camera, let's see your face. If you're not, you have the floor. Please go ahead.
Good day. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, and you?
Good, thanks. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can hear
yeah.
you.
Okay, awesome stuff. So, I'm actually a huge fan of your channel, hey? I like your take on a lot of this, as you seem to be very neutral. I don't think that's one fact that anyone can deny. Here you are giving both sides of the story, right? I think that's as neutral as it gets. So, I've got a couple of points, right? So I am Congolese. I come from one of the official tribes in Congo, the Baluba tribe, right? So I've got like 3 points to point out, right? And I'm actually happy with the facts, with the comments that arise earlier on. I like how you handled it. And I think I just want to point out that it's actually a blessing that we can actually rise above the hate. Because I mean, that comment that was posted earlier on, something about ugly, something like that. I liked how you handled this.
Thank
There's
you.
no need for us to respond hate with hate. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I always believe that as Africans, we should develop this mindset whereby if someone comes with hate, we should understand. I think Julius Malema once said it that we as Africans before were made to hate one another or hate each other or hate ourselves. So when someone comes with a hateful comment like that, it is very important for you to not lose your mind. Firstly, just be calm. I
Yes.
believe one day Africa will be free. Africa will be free. But for the moment, let's be patient with the ones that don't get the program. I don't know if you understand me. Like one day when Africa's free and the ones that don't get the program and were confused, they come along, we'll just be like, hey, you know what? Come along. You're still our brothers, you know? So I really like the way you handle that. So moving on to like the facts of the matter, right? So I am Congolese. One thing you will notice with the war happening on the east is the advanced weapons that the Rwandan people are going to say it's not, but I think we all are not misinformed. We all know that the M23 is backed by Rwanda. I think everybody knows that at this point. If you're fighting to free a certain group,
Not
why are you
everybody
killing? Why are
believes.
you raping?
Not everybody believes
Okay, that's why I say let's be patient with them. When they come around, it's okay. We'll forgive them, you know, because we are Africans at the end of the day. When they come around, it will be okay. But the M23 seems to be using very advanced weapons. Even the South African defense force that was there described that they are using very, very advanced weapons. And this is a South African army. This South Africa is the most developed country in Africa. And for them to say this just shows you that there is more to this. And I'm happy that as Africans we've gotten to a point where we can critically analyze and be like, no, this is not just a rebel group that is surviving in the jungle without any food and whatever. They are fully backed by someone, an organized structure, to say the least. So that's just that. Like, there's something going on. Like, the fact that they have such advanced weapons and South African soldiers are telling you that those guys are using advanced weapons must just say something. I think we're all educated to a point to know what that means. Okay. And then, yeah, I just want to end it off. You know what? As a Congolese, I'm happy that all my brothers that spoke before me um, touched on the fact that, you know, as Congolese people, we just want the war to stop. We're tired of this. We all want to go home like any other African and build our houses in our community and whatever. You know what I mean? So I'm really happy that my brothers touched on the points that the Tutsi population that is in the east of the DRC, we don't have a problem with them. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, in South Africa now, South Africa was just made of a group of tribes and they had to come together and understand that, look, South Africa belongs to all who live in it. And I'm very happy that my brothers that came before understood and mentioned that, you know what, we don't have a problem with this Tutsi group that lives in the DRC. We are just saying, stop the killing. If you're saying you want to free the Tutsi group, why are you raping and killing people? Like, you are contradicting yourself. If you're saying you want to be free, you don't go about doing that by raping and killing. So I just want to say, you know what? We'll be patient with them, even with all of that. We understand that they are puppets of the West, but one day they will come around and, yeah, hopefully everything will be okay.
Kai, my
Sure.
brother, you know how to stylishly yab people. You know how to stylishly yab people. Anyways, thank you so much for your comments. I am pretty sure there are people that do not agree with what he said, and I am inviting you to please come in the studio and share your opinion. Now, I'm going to read a few of the comments here. Someone is saying here that what is the Congolese president's involvement in this situation? What action is his government taking? Also, someone is saying the problem is Congolese leaders don't take their responsibility. Sorry, Congolese leaders don't take their responsibility and resolve the problem from the root. So, I'm hoping to see someone from Congo that would, come in the studio and tell us or try to answer these questions for us. But I will still allow our guests to talk about this. But a lot of people are also asking, what about the government of Congo? And I've also seen a lot of Rwandans saying the problem is just with the Congolese leaders, not has nothing to do with Rwanda. So, and then when you're done answering this, Cloud, I want to talk about at the beginning of your opening statement, you said that Rwanda does not have coltan. But Rwandan president tells us that they have coltan. So I want to hear all about that. I also want to talk about the Rwandan president who was asked by CNN, "Is your military in on ground right now in the DRC?" And he said, "I don't know." That and then he said, "There's a lot of things I don't know," and we were like, Like, come again? Like, did you say you don't know, or you don't know? No, no. Like, does that mean you don't know, or you don't know? You know how Nigerians will be like, which one of the don't know are you talking about? So, but first of all, let's talk about the government in the DRC. And I also have Constant in the studio and someone named Koja. I have Constant, I have Koja in the studio. But two things. Let's talk about the government of Congo real quick, my brother.
Yeah. So I think the Congolese government, first of all, there's two important things. Two things can be and are true at the same time. The Congolese government is incompetent, but Congo is also being raped. So, to you all have to understand, if somebody goes in a person's house and they rape the wife, I mean, it's happening in the Congo. Like they rape the wife in front of the kids and the person, and stuff like that, and they have these guns. Yeah, that person is not able to protect their family, but who is the perpetrator? So I think it's important to keep the light shining on who's perpetrating these crimes, who's invading Congo, and make sure that that is mostly the key, in the area of focus. On the other hand, I do think there are many things that the Congolese government, one, should recognize and should have, steps they should have taken. Build institutions, in the Congo, especially, the military, but also other institutions in the country. Secondly, at this point, the current president in Congo has been president for 6 years now. He should have already closed the borders with Rwanda and Uganda and stopped the trade of those illicit, mines, the mining activity that goes into, well, not just the president, but the Congolese government, should have already closed borders with Rwanda and Uganda to stop the flow of these resources. Of course, we know the borders. I mean, I'll have family that is on one side in Rwanda and another family that's in Congo. Those are not the issues, that border part, but the border posts, where the roads, where the trucks are transporting those raw materials that are going to finance those multinational companies. If the borders are closed, then it escalates the issue, because they're not making the profit that they were making from exploiting the Congolese people. So that's one. The second thing is, make sure the narrative includes the fact that Congo is being invaded by two countries, Rwanda and Uganda. The border with Uganda, Bunagana border, was taken over by the Ugandan soldiers. So those are all things that I think are important, that I think the government of Congo should do. At the same time, continue and defend their territory. But that doesn't take away where the spotlight should be. The spotlight should be on who is going into Congo and committing all these crimes. Why is Congo being invaded? In the same way that when we look at what happened in Ukraine, right? Russia went into the Ukraine. We don't say, oh, the Ukraine. We don't put the focus so much on the Ukraine itself and the Ukrainian people and the government in terms of defending themselves. It's about what actually happened to them. Was it an invasion or not an invasion? And then what happens when a country is invaded? And I also think that the Congolese government should be like very clear in how they talk about what's happening in Congo, and you know, uh, make sure that it's clear, crystal clear, that what is happening in Congo is an invasion by neighboring countries. And when that happens, once it's recognized, there are like laws, international laws that are to be followed, to hold accountable the perpetrators. But as long as, the conversation is about, oh, it's rebels or not rebels and stuff like that, and they've started to do that now in recent times, but I think that's a very important thing. So For me, I do think that there's a lot of things that the Congolese government should do and must do to protect the Congolese people. But I also think that the focus should always stay on the perpetrators, Rwanda and Uganda invading the Congo with the support of Western countries, using weaponry from all of these Western countries, getting training from Western countries, getting funding from Western countries, and and defeating Western multinationals. The more Western multinationals are paying some of these groups to occupy the mines. So all of that stuff, the perpetrators must be the ones that are put in the spotlight so that the world understand, the world knows, and action is actually channeled to end the perpetrating of these crimes.
So now let's talk about the president of Rwanda saying that they have coltan, and you said at the beginning that it's coming from the DRC. I've also seen
Yes.
comments, some people saying, "Oh, everybody knows it's coming from the DRC." We don't know because now we know that the DRC has plenty of all these natural resources, but for some reason Rwanda is now the biggest exporter. Rwanda
Mhm.
next door, and the Rwandan president is telling us that they also
Yeah.
have good hands. So,
So, so I don't know if
and
you
by
ever
the
saw
way,
this.
for those who may just join, you are from Rwanda, so you
Yes.
should know.
Yes.
Yes,
So
I know. We
here's
have coltan. First of all,
Oh,
let me elaborate.
we have
Rwanda.
no.
wait,
Okay.
my brother,
Let-
wait. You don't just jump in these things, my brother. Are you
Okay, sorry.
here
I
to
was the guy in the
defend
comments.
Paul Kagame?
Zoomer
Oh, I am so excited. If you're here to
Yes.
defend Paul Kagame, by the way,
Yes.
you have
Thank
to turn
you.
on your video camera because we have to see your face. See, he
I
turned on his video camera, we see his face. But for those who are still asking in the comment section, how do we join? The link is on the screen. Just copy that link, paste it, and then you'll be able to join us and come and you can contribute to this conversation. So, do you want him to talk
Sis-
first, and then
Sister, yeah, I'll let him go first, but let me please give me the honor of welcoming him first, being the, the one to welcome him. You know, come on, brother, come on, let's go.
okay. Thank
Hey,
you so
round
much
of
for letting me join.
applause.
Um, I'm sorry I cannot turn on the camera right now because it's
Okay.
I'm in Asia. It's 4:34 a.m. right now, and I'm a mess. I'm in a bonnet. I'm shirtless. Sorry, I cannot like turn on the camera.
That's fine.
But
That's
I
fine.
just wanted to
We hear
say,
you.
Rwanda having coltan is not even like a crazy idea. We have borders with the DRC. It's not crazy that those reserves could like be across in Rwanda and Uganda. It's not crazy at all. I can show you like the news of how Rwanda mines its coltan using modern equipment. And in DRC, in Rubaya mines, they use like hands and they use like shovels and stuff. It's like really not like modern at all the way they're mining their minerals. But in Rwanda, I can show you they're using generators. They have like heavy equipment. It's not crazy that Rwanda can export that much coltan at all. But my question is for this guy. There's a lot of people in the comments that were saying, "Oh, you're not Rwandese. If you're Rwandese, like, can we have like a short conversation in of like 20 seconds
They
to
want you
prove
to
that you're
speak
Rwandan?"
your language to prove
Yeah,
that you are actually
because
from Rwanda.
yes,
You
this
need
guy
to
seems
tell us
like
whatever you say to them in your language.
he,
So,
he seems like a
unless you
fraud
were too
because first
young
of all,
when you
who
left.
keeps book
So,
on a window? You have a bookshelf now. Like, what if it rains or you need to close the window? Like,
what
okay,
are you
first of
talking about?
okay, like, wavukiye he ufite imyaka ingahe tubwire.
You want me to take that, sister?
He said something to you in your language, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
needs to
He
answer.
he, he wants me to speak in Kenya, Rwanda. And he was also asking about the books, the books behind me, saying if it rains, what
Don't you have
happens
a
to the books?
bookshelf? Like,
So
who
a lot
keeps
of
book in the
these
window?
are like really, I find them really irrelevant to the conversation. I will say I'm okay to speak in Kinyarwanda,
Okay,
but the
let's
audience
speak.
here,
20
the
seconds.
audience,
You
yeah,
can say something to him and tell
I
us
need
what
I
you
need
said.
yeah,
proof not to know
the
you're not
audience,
a fraud.
the audience here speaks English, so I want to make
20
sure that
seconds.
the
It's not.
audience.
It's not that much. There is Rwandans in the audience too. They want to know if you are Rwandan. If you don't, you're a fraud. You know.
Alrighty. So I do want to make sure that we don't get derailed. Adiola, I'm sure
Yeah,
you've
I'm
seen
not
this type
derailing
of
you.
thing.
It's not even like 20 seconds. I'm asking you.
Excuse me. If you want me to answer your question, let me answer your question. Okay. So stop interrupting. Um, so going back to the point, we've seen these tactics of trying to hijack the conversation. So what I will do is I'm not gonna go into a Kinyarwanda conversation because we're not gonna do this show in Kinyarwanda, but I will respond to him in Kinyarwanda and let him know ibyo bigambo wihaye byo kuza kuvugira umwicanyi nka Paul Kagame, ubwo bwicanyi bwanyu mpaka tuzabakurikirana mpaka tubagejeje mu butabera, kandi abicanyi nka ba Kagame na Bakabarebe na ba Kayonga n'abandi bose igihe cyabo kizagera kandi ayo mahanga mwishinze azabajugunya. Okay. So I think I've proven that I speak in Rwanda.
You're
I have
Rwandan.
no idea what you just said, but
I just let him know that the pursuit
is
of
he
justice
now
will
from
never end.
Rwanda? Is he Rwanda now? Can I see in the
Can I get a
comment
passport?
section? Rwandans, can you put a
You
comment?
probably have it already.
Can you write
But
something in
still.
the comment section? Because this brother just ate the crumb. Like he went on and on. I have no idea what he said, but people in the comment section are saying nice. They are saying, "Oh, now that's a Kagame troll."
I'm not a Kagame troll. Like I have,
They
like
are
I don't
saying
get deep at this, you know.
bravo.
But
They are saying
it makes
bravo
no
to
sense that
you.
you would blame all your problems on another president when you have like
Okay,
men.
before you go on, Constant, is he from Rwanda? Did he convince you that he's from Rwanda with what he said?
Yeah, I'm convinced. I'm convinced.
Oh, okay, that's
But
good to hear.
he
So
didn't answer
he
like
is
my
from
questions when I
Rwanda.
asked him like how old is he, you know?
Ah.
Because I want to know like how do
Wait,
you know,
is this why
how can
you
you
get
come
to
here and like
contribute? At first, you said he's not Rwandan unless he speaks the language. He spoke the language. Now you're asking how old he is, my brother. How old
yeah,
are you,
because he
Uncle
he
Constant?
came up here and then he gave us like
Again,
a short little
he's
background about
Okay.
going to
Oh,
himself.
wait, wait.
he's
I
going to
need to
hijack the
know what you
conversation.
want to
Yeah.
contribute because now
So,
you are interrogating my guest. If you want to
I'm so,
contribute to the discussion, go ahead, make your contribution. I don't think you should be asking how old he's already proven that he's from Rwanda. That is all we need to know. So why don't you give us your contribution to the conversation?
And
okay.
maybe turn on your camera. Turn on your camera
I told
since
you
you,
it's
you want
4
to do an
a.m. I'm in a
interrogation.
bonnet. Like what
It's
you want?
okay. So you
I'm
were telling us,
focusing.
Constant, before you got carried away, you were telling us that you actually have coltan in the DRC as well. And that is why you are the largest exporter of coltan, right?
Okay, so we have to like understand that the DRC doesn't have a road that connects Goma and Bukavu to Kinshasa. You know, if they wanted to export the coltan they have in the eastern part, it has to go through which countries? Rwanda and Uganda, right? Because those are the only borders they share with the eastern part. We have to understand that. Now, there is not necessarily like bad actors in Rwanda, but there is Chinese mining companies. These people, they come through Rwanda. There's an interview of Paul Kagame saying this. There's people that bring minerals. He doesn't know how they get them, but they just want to use them to get to the port of Mombasa, you know, to the port in Tanzania and Kenya to export them. It's not crazy at all. But then there's little minerals that Rwanda actually mines, processes, and exports. There's videos out there on the internet. You can go and verify them. I can like put a link somewhere, you know, of like Rwandan news, like showing like people mining and stuff, like with very modern equipment, you know. We don't have a lot of coltan, but there is coltan, and it's not even a crazy idea because
Wait, did you just say you don't have a lot of coltan?
yeah, because Rwanda is small, you know. We're not saying we
Yeah,
have
so
more
but
coltan
how are
than
you
you.
at the largest exporter when DRC
Oh,
has a lot of coltan?
because the east of DRC
Uh-huh.
is closer to Rwanda, and as I say, they don't have a road that connects the east to the west, so those minerals cannot leave through Kinshasa. they have to leave through the nearest border, which is Rwanda.
So you are saying that when the DRC
So,
wants to
bro,
export,
have you seen the map?
they bring it through Rwanda, and
Yeah.
then they say that Rwanda is the one exporting it. It is no longer the DRC. Are you telling us it's actually the DRC, but they export in the
Now,
name of Rwanda?
Rwanda has like a coltan processing plant, when it comes, it's in the form of raw materials. To export it, you cannot like send sand abroad. You need
So,
to process it.
you are the largest exporter because you buy it
We
from the
process it, yeah.
DRC. Oh,
We
you buy
process,
it from the
yeah, we
DRC.
buy it legitimately.
So, but initially you said you have it. That is why you are the largest exporter. But now you are saying that you are buying it from the DRC.
There is little reserves, but we need to like we have reserves, but we need to like process and export. I'm not saying Rwanda has like more coltan than the DRC. It's not even like, but there is coltan in Rwanda. But we buy minerals from the DRC, process them, then export. Because you cannot export Rwanda like sand. It's not possible. There's
Okay.
people saying there's coltan from where? Coltan from where? Is it crazy at all that there's oil in Dubai and there's oil in Saudi Arabia? There's like it's neighboring countries, guys. It's not crazy. Rwanda is not that far from DRC. You know,
Okay. Thank you
you
so
just have to
much.
use like common sense.
Thank you so much for your contribution. I personally need to, maybe do more research because you confused me a few times. I honestly I really appreciate your contribution, but initially when you said that you are the largest exporter because you have the reserve, and
No,
then
we're not
later you
always the
said,
largest exporter. There's years where Rwanda exports more and
yeah,
DRC
but
exports
then
more.
later
You
you
know,
said because the DRC doesn't have good roads, they bring it through Rwanda. That is why you are the largest exporter. And then later you said you buy the raw material from Rwanda and then you process it. I mean, from the DRC, and then you process it from Rwanda. So I'm trying to know which is it, But
all three happens. All three can happen.
all
I'm
three
just saying that
can happen, or so you don't know exactly.
I don't work in the mining sector of Rwanda, but
So
I can assure you that's how it happens, because
okay, so
DRC,
you said it can happen, and then you said you don't work there, but you can assure me
yeah,
it's
because
what
I have
happened. Okay.
interviews. You want me to send links? I can send you
No,
links.
no, no, no. No. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Okay, Cloud, do you want to respond to any of this before I let in Mr. Ilunga? He's in the studio, and then Patrick Unkimba.
Yeah, just real quick, they claim that Rwanda has coltan mines. Most of the mines in Rwanda, a lot of the mines in Rwanda are mines that have not even been uh, um, mined. They're prospecting. They've not been mined yet. Um, Now, also Rwanda has not. It's like they find mines with satellites. Just like, by the way, speaking of satellites, back to like the invasion of Congo, there are satellite images showing like the Rwanda's military cemeteries have expanded,
I
like
I have
more than
pictures. I have
yes,
pictures of
uh,
the satellite images. I have pictures of the M23 going with trucks
from
of.
the
I have pictures, and I can also
right.
put the link where people can find these pictures online. But please keep going.
Right, right, and then there is like the camps, the paths and all of that. So now, satellites can actually detect where mines are. Rwanda, do you know how one of the things that Paul Kagame is really good at and the regime in Rwanda are really good at is PR. It's pushing narratives. If there was a small coltan mine that was ever found in Rwanda, they would probably advertise it as the largest mine in the world, just so that they can show that they have a coltan mine. Rwanda does not have the amount of coltan that it actually exports. Rwanda does not have these type of mines. There is other minerals. Coltan is not one of the main minerals in Rwanda. So when you look at the exports, right? We just go by the facts. You look at how much Rwanda is exporting in coltan today, compared to historically how much Rwanda, and by the way, it's the same for Uganda, for a number of minerals and timber and other things that they steal out of Congo. And you look back for years and years and years and keep going backwards, you'll see that this is not a linear growth or some type of growth that you can explain and be like, oh yeah, they found mines, they started mining, and now they're like leading the market for mining coltan and exporting coltan. Rwanda does not have those reserves. So what happens is, like in recent times, Rwanda took over the Rubaya mine, which is the largest coltan mine, and now they're taking those and they take them to mines in Rwanda where they mine other things, and then they'll, as this guy said, process them, or not even process them, and sell them to the global market. There are trucks and trucks and trucks that leave the Congo with the minerals, this coltan, into Rwanda, and they export them to the world market. There was a sister reading Africana who asked the Kenyan journalist Larry Madawa, excuse me, Larry Madawa. She asked him to show the coltan mines in Rwanda. We are still waiting for him to. The CNN journalist that asked Paul Kagame, does he have troops in Rwanda? I mean, in Congo, and Kagame
Yeah.
said that he doesn't know. Well, there was a challenge for him to show us the mines. Where are
Oh,
the
okay.
mines? And he
So did
hasn't.
they show? Did they show the
No,
mines?
they
I can
have
show
not
you the
shown the
mines right now.
mines.
You want me to send the link?
We're waiting
Yes,
for
please
those
put
mines.
the
Let me
link
send the
in
link.
the
I'll
comment
put it in
section.
the chat, and then you can show the interview of Rwanda mining and processing its coltan. Not only coltan. There's gold. There's other minerals. But let me.
You can put the link in the comment section. People can click it. I would not be able to play it because of
Okay.
copyright
Okay.
issue. If I
Thank
don't
you.
own copyright to the video, I can just play. But I will also click it to watch. Anyways, let's invite Mr. Ilunga while Constant is doing that. Mr. Ilunga, thanks for joining us. If you're comfortable with turning on your video camera, we would love to see your face. If not, you have the floor. Thanks for joining us. Let's hear your contribution.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Hi.
Okay, that's great. Well, I just bumped into your program on YouTube. I was not really prepared. Is that why I've turned off my camera? So next time, if you have a program, I'm gonna prepare myself to be ready for the channel.
You
I
don't
want to
need
just
inspiration, but hey, go ahead.
yes. Well, I want just to make clear about our fellow brothers Rwandese. We live with Rwandan for many years. We welcome Rwanda to live in Congo. They have been, apart from the genocide of 1994 in Rwanda, which I don't support, that was the last genocide Rwanda had in its country. Before that, there was 4 genocides in Rwanda. That people, they don't talk about it. They always been welcome in Congo. But I'm very shocked to see what Rwandese are supporting what Paul Kagame is doing in Congo. I'm very shocked about it. And they should be against what they're doing because they are our neighbor. We're going to live with Rwandese until this war will finish. Paul Kagame might die. I don't wish him to die. I wish him to be alive to see what the change Congo will make, and to be a witness of that change. What has happened? Mobutu has been there for 32 years. And what did happen? Kagame got the support of Museveni, and they used Kabila, the father, to come to invade Congo initially and take off Mobutu into power and then put Kabila. Somehow they managed to get Kabila killed to replace so-called Junior Kabila, claiming that is Kabila's son whatsoever. I'm gonna take it in that way. All the army of the Congo that we had during the time of Mobutu, they have destroyed that army. Is where the thing started going worse, bad to worse. They replaced that army, bringing James Kabarebe, the guy who has been sanctioned by the American today, became the commander-chief of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. So they took all the information for the Congo and also the Congolese army, the map and everything. They took it to Rwanda. And I have videos. I don't have your number. I followed your video that you did recently about Kayumba, the former chief military of Rwanda. That I started following your YouTube channel. And I have a videos of a European parliamentarian who's been explaining how Kabila father got killed because they got authorization, go to America, got Kabila's father assassinated, so they put Kabila's son into power because they could manipulate him easily. From
Interrupt. I possibly
Mr. Ilunga.
Mr.
Ilunga, sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to say, instead of sending us a link, because I don't want anybody to click any link and then get into like what's it called, a scam link, and then blame me.
Nobody's getting scammed.
Instead of sending us a link, just write the title of the video for us to look for on YouTube, and then people can look for the video on YouTube. So please don't click any link, because I'm seeing people putting in the comment section that you may click a link and then regret clicking the link. I don't want anybody to regret clicking any link, and I don't want anybody to get any scam link. So if you've written a link in the comment section, I see that Zuma Slayer keeps writing links. Please delete the link. Actually, I just deleted it. Nothing against you, Zuma. But if you're writing links, instead of writing links, because there's a lot of all kinds of people on YouTube now, instead of writing links, please just give us the name of the video. Tell us, search for so video on YouTube, and then we will search for the video ourselves. So please don't put any link. Sorry, Mr. Ilunga.
Yes.
I want to say keep going, but your microphone keeps going in and out. Some people are complaining in the comment section. So maybe try to make it fast.
I don't know what happened with the microphone. So what I need to try to make clear, FDLR, that's what Kagame has been claiming. That's FDLR, they are making threat to Rwanda. That's not true at all. The FDLR that Paul Kagame is claiming is coltan from Congo, is the gold from the Congo, because they are FDLR. That's Paul Kagame been talking about. They are not FDLR at all. Because Mr. Kayumba said it clearly. All these Hutus that they came in, they are genocider, that they kill people in Rwanda, they are actually in the Rwandan army. And they are not FDLR. Now, M23 and the Rwandan army, they are controlling Goma, South Kivu, and North Kivu. How many FDLR have they found in Congo? We've not seen it. We've not seen any, apart from the one that they've been and also killing the population of the Congo.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I wanted to listen to more, but your microphone is going in and out. Constance, do you want to say anything else before I let in someone else in the studio? Thank you so much, Mr. Ilunga.
Okay,
Pleasure.
thank you. I wanted to say the title of the video is Rwanda's Mining Investors Upload Tech-Driven Growth and Impact. It's on the RBA YouTube channel.
Okay, are you the one that is named Zuma Slayer? Is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, now I know why you didn't want to turn on your camera, because you've been abusing a lot of people in the comment section before.
No, I'm telling you.
Before
I
you
cannot turn
came
on the
in,
camera right now, but if
it's
you invite me,
it's okay. You don't have to turn on your
invite
camera.
me
But
the next time you have this
when you
discussion.
came in the studio, you used a different name, Constance. I didn't know that you were also Zuma Slayer, because you've been abusing a lot of people before now. But that's okay.
Good.
We forgive
I
you.
should
We
have made
love
that
you.
clear.
We love you either ways. So
Yeah.
he's saying that the title of the video is Rwanda's Mining Investors Applaud Tech-Driven Growth and Impact. So people can look for that on YouTube if you want to know whether or not they have mine in, if they have, what's it called? If they have coltan in Rwanda and all that, if they have the mine in Rwanda, if they have the processing plants, and also you can Google that video. my guest, please Google that video while I have another guest in the video so that you can react to it if you would like to. You can mute
Okay.
yourself and check it out on your phone real quick. Let me quickly have so Mr. Ilunga, I will let you go. Thank you so much for your contribution. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. I'm trying to round up because believe it or not, we've been at this for almost 2 hours and we still have like 1,200 plus people. This is on all platforms, so not just on YouTube. So I have Patrick Nkimba in on the show as well, and I'm leaving on the title of the video that he wants us to check out. So someone is saying Zuma Slayer is in the house. We are giving him a round of applause. Zuma Slayer is the same as Constant. So at least we're able to figure that out today. It makes me happy. Thank you for joining us, Constant. Don't go yet because we're trying to watch the video
I'm
and then
here.
react to you. So, but Patrick Nkimba, thank you so much for joining us. Please tell us where you're calling from and give us your contribution.
Good afternoon, good afternoon or good evening, Sister Diola. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. First of all, I would like to say thank you for using the means that God has blessed you with, your channel, your YouTube channel, and to to just create a platform for some of us, like youth, especially like Congolese or even the people around the continent of Africa, even those out of our continent of Africa, to share their contribution or their views or their comments. And
Thank you.
I I also want to commend the brother from
Yes.
Rwanda who's in the studio on camera. I'm
Yeah.
sorry I cannot turn on my camera for the reason of security maybe. So first of all, I would like to say that I am a person from the Great Lakes region. I speak Kirundi. So when they were exchanging between the constant and the brother on camera, I understand because if you speak Kirundi, you can easily understand Kinyarwanda, and if you speak Kinyarwanda, you can easily understand Kirundi. People who speak Kirundi, I speak French fluently. I speak English. I would like first of all to lay a kind of a foundation on my contribution.
Okay.
I have read books. I have read books in my from my books, 8 books at least, from five different different independent researchers, independent scholars, be it from outside of Africa or some of those maybe you may know. There is one Charlie Onana. Maybe that is common to some of us, Charlie Onana, who writes in French and English. And there's also Judy River. There is even Michelle Wrong. All those wrote on the conflict, even things going on in the Great Lakes region. And so back, maybe can I start maybe from um, the real question that we should be asking the president of Rwanda or even anyone else who comes to support the claims of the regime of President Kagame, we should ask them what is the main issue why your soldiers, RDF, Rwandan Defense Force, are in Congo. What is the main reason? Because the main point they say it is for security reasons, and they say the FDRLR, and those they claim they are the ones they are responsible for the 1994 genocide, and that is the main point. That is the main statement. That is the main narrative. That is the main narrative. They always use. President Kagame uses it. Yolande, the spokesperson uses it. Even Olivier, the Minister of External Affairs, Olivier Duhungirehe, uses it. So many officials, even James Kabarebe, uses that narrative just to gaslight
Just gonna clear things up. They're not in
and
DRC,
rant
they're
on.
on the
No,
border.
don't cut me short. Behave. Don't cut me. Don't cut me. Behave, brother.
Keep going.
That's what you do, and I'm not gonna tolerate that. And for maybe the audience to understand, do you know that James Kabarebe was a chief commander of the Congolese army in the past, and he also became a chief commander in the Rwandan in Rwanda. And so when they say they are in Congo because they are chasing or they are hunting down genocide genociders, and I'm asking myself, when James Kabarebe was in charge of the Congolese army, why didn't he fix that problem? That is a question that we need to ask even the people supporting the regime of Kagame. And for
Now
you
can I
own
answer?
for your own understanding, for the audience understanding, I would want to let people know that there is not gonna be any time that you ask a question that that goes or that challenges the presence of Rwandan force in Congo. Kagame or his regime are going to back down, even to dare to respond. They will always beat behind the bush. They will always play the victim card. They will always find ways to lie or to gaslight, just like Constant just did. He started with saying so many things. Oh, we have miners, we have mines in Rwanda. Or
I'm
we
not
we
lying. I can back
refine,
it up.
or
I
we
can
do
back it
this,
up.
or we do that. That's what they do, and just to mislead the people. And for you to understand the audience, maybe the regime of Kagame did not just start this time. It started years and years ago, probably more than 3 decades ago, because Kagame and Museveni work hand in hand. Kagame helped Museveni to gain power in Uganda, and that is why even now Museveni backs up Kagame, because if you see the recent the recent meeting they had in East African community before they had a joint meeting with SADC. Kagame was there bluffing, and he was there asking people questions as if he's speaking to kids, and you cannot just imagine. And the Ruto, president of Kenya, in the joint meeting with SADC, he did not even he did not even condemn Kagame or RDF, the forces, Rwandan forces in Congo. He just condemned M23. So for you to know, for maybe a better understanding, is for us to understand that Museveni, president of Uganda, president of Kenya, they are backing up the president of Rwanda, President Paul Kagame. And for maybe another layer to that, if you go to check, the opposition leader, I don't know, in Uganda, was abducted in Kenya and was sent to Uganda, and now he's being tried illegally, and it's really illegal because people are speaking. Even there are so many people speaking against what's going on, because he's not there is violation. His rights are being violated, and so President Kagame, for 30 good years, have been using the genocide card to say that the FDR are in Congo, so the forces of Rwanda go in Congo for the security of Rwanda, but
Okay,
that
my
is just
brother, let's round
backfiring.
up. Let's round up, and then
Okay,
I'm gonna have constant reply, and then I would give my I will let my guest talk, and then I'll give my view of the video, because I've seen the video that he sent. So, but let
All
me
right.
to round
Okay,
it.
I'm running up. Thank you, but
Okay.
thank you, sister.
Thank you.
Last
All
point
right.
that I wanted to point out.
Okay.
In 2015, there was a coup d'etat in Burundi, and the people, the criminals who attempted the coup, fled to Rwanda, and the president of Rwanda of Burundi, the former president, late President Pierre Nkurunziza, asked President Kagame to send those criminals over to Burundi. From 2015, even the new president, President Ndayishimiye Evariste, asked Rwanda to send those criminals. They have refused. So all they can do for Rwanda, anything they can do, anything to gain their own gain. That is the regime of Kagame. And I thank you.
Thank you so much, Constance. Do you have anything to say to, because I heard you were trying to interrupt him and he didn't like that. So it looks like you have something to say about what he said. Do you mind?
Okay, so to the people that keep saying, "Oh, Rwanda uses like the genocide to like, to like fool the international community and stuff," it's actually a real threat, because where did these people go? They went to Congo. What did the Congolese government do at the time? Okay, first of all, if somebody flees to you, right? If somebody comes to you, they're saying, "We need help. Why don't you disarm them?" You know what Mobutu did? He didn't take their arms. He allowed the whole army, at the time, the 1994 President Habyarimana's army. He said, "Come to my country. I'm going to help you take your country back." That was the promise Mobutu had to Habyarimana, because they were really good friends. Everybody knows this. It's not a secret, So he allows the whole army. He doesn't disarm them. And he puts them to the border near Rwanda, in North Kivu and South Kivu. So now, President Kagame, when he took power, he had these people as as a threat, because when you take refugees, you don't put them near the threat they're fleeing, just take them to like anywhere, just not near Rwanda. But that's not what Mobutu did. So what happened to Mobutu? Everybody knows it. But now, after overthrowing Mobutu, this guy was saying, "Oh, Kabadebe was like the major, I don't know, the defense minister of Congo." Yeah, he didn't go there by force. Kabila put him in place, He didn't force any Congolese to like be on that position. Kabila put him in place, and then when the Congolese pressed him, he was like, "No, I don't like Rwandans," because Congolese, they didn't want Rwandans there. So Kabila starts changing his mind when these are the same people that put him in power, So now he starts orchestrating, now I'm gonna kill all Rwandans because the Congolese don't like them. So now he like tries to do the same thing Mobutu was doing.
Okay.
And that problem has not been solved for 30 years, because when he went to power, he never disarmed the FDLR. He was there for a year, and then he changed his mind, to the Rwandans. And then all of a sudden he's like, he doesn't want to disarm them. He starts
Okay.
like
So
actually arming them. And then we have like the second Congo War.
It's been 2 hours, so I'm honestly really trying to round up. I wanted to say before I allow my guests to talk, I want to say real quick that this person obviously did not start with us. They are saying, why would you have such conversation without people from all affected sides? So we actually had booked someone from the other side, just as we have my brother here, so that this equation will be balanced. And then last night, or was it this morning? They said that last night they said that they sent an email. They told my other guest, Cloud, that they sent me an email. I didn't get any email from them. They also said they copied Cloud. Cloud also did not get the email. It's not possible that both of us will not get the email. Maybe the email is to tell us why they will not be able to join the conversation. We don't know, because we don't know what the content of the email is. The person that was supposed to join, his name is Jean-Paul Ruhosha. He's the executive director of Congo Today. He was supposed to come and tell us why he believes Paul Kagame is innocent. And then at the last minute, and we've not heard from them since yesterday. Even when we started, I said, in case you are watching my brother, wherever you are, Jean Paul, we would still love for you to join us because we didn't get your email.
Just a little thing here.
Okay.
What for sure he says that M23 has a legitimate fight. So I don't know what he was gonna say about Kagame, but for sure, I've seen him say that the M23 has a legitimate cause.
Oh,
I
okay.
just wanted to make that precise.
Okay. So we wanted the conversation to be balanced, but he's not here. So do you want to say something about everything he said, and then we'll talk about the video, and then we can round up.
Yeah.
I would let Patrick, please. I need to let you go while we respond to Constant, and then I only have two more people in the studio, and that's it. Please don't join if you have not joined already. I have someone named Congo debut. I have two Niger and Congo Tony. You already contributed, so sorry. All right, keep going, guys.
Yeah. So I was gonna just say one quick thing about what Constant just said right now, that the former Congolese Zairian dictator Mobutu made a deal with President Habyarimana when the refugees, which I was one of the refugees that went into the Congo, right? Again, stating facts here. Habyarimana was the first person to die in the genocide. He was killed in the plane shooting. So how did he make a deal after he was already dead about his army going to Congo when he was president, he occupied the country? So again, there is so much misinformation and disinformation. If we didn't have the facts that on April 6, 1994, the plane was shot and killed two presidents and he actually died in that plane, the audience might actually believe that this deal actually happened with the FDLR and all of that, which is untrue. The second thing, if you would allow me, I'll just talk about this mining video that this Constant sent us. I watched the video, and they're basically saying the majority of the mining is in Western Rwanda. The place that does all the processing is saying that they are trying to increase their capacity from 12 tons a month to 14 tons a month to maybe 20 tons a month. If you do the math, let's do the simple math. Let's say they go to the
I
maximum
didn't
20
know
tons.
you caught that as well. Please keep going.
Yes, yes, it's so simple. When people are lying, it's so simple to catch the lies. The math is so simple. 20 tons in a month times 12 for the year is 120 tons. In the year 2023, I didn't check to see, I'll double check the video on when it was done. This video is from,
2 days ago, but I don't know.
oh, yeah, it
That's
was from
when
2 days
this person
ago.
uploaded it.
So in 2023, Rwanda exported 2,000 tons. That is 1,880 more tons than they would
Okay.
have at maximum capacity produced at this mine. So, I mean, the rest is coming from Congo. I mean, it's really, the math is so simple. It exposes it. So that's all I wanted to say about the video. I watched it, and yes, so as we've been saying the whole time, the amount of coltan in Rwanda is so minuscule that
Hey,
it
that
does
was
not
just one
meet the
mine. It
amount
wasn't
that
all the mines
Rwanda
in Rwanda.
actually exports out of, to the global market. And I mean, it's that simple. Anyway, back to you, sister.
I was saying they only interviewed one mining corporation. How many mining corporations do you think are there? You think it's only the one they interviewed? No, like, you don't have basic common sense. You know, say, like, so
Okay,
only one
okay,
mining
okay.
company exists
So
in the.
first of all, I just muted you. I just muted. You will not come here and tell anybody that they don't have common sense. So I'm able to mute you. I'm able to kick you out of the studio. We are having
I'm sorry.
matured conversation. We are all adults. We are having matured conversation. You will not come here and tell anybody that they don't have common sense. Please and please, you can express your opinion without attacking anyone. Let me, so this video that you sent to us, what you are trying to say now is that that is not the only mine. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes,
Okay.
because they only went to a few, maybe one mining company, as far as I saw in the video, you know. So now you're saying you're taking what you saw from one company, and then you're like, oh, so this is the whole of Rwanda,
Okay, so
right?
now let me react to the video because I also watched it, half-heartedly because I was also listening to the conversation. Now, let me give my opinion because when you said we should go and watch this video, you presented it as this is the evidence that we need to believe that Rwanda has coltan and has mines and is processing this natural resources. So that's why he gave his opinion because you presented it as this is the evidence that we needed for us to believe you. Now, I'm not from Rwanda, I'm not from the DR Congo. I'm looking at this objectively. Just watching that video, the first thing that stood out to me is they were talking about how this place is using technology, big time technology to they said they discovered more natural resources by using the big time technology. Now, the first thing that stood out to me when I was watching this, and I'm going to try to share some of the screenshots if I can. Let me try. The first thing that stood out to me is they said that they have up to 120 people working at this mine. And in my head, I'm thinking if you are the largest exporter and you're exporting this directly from your country and this is the evidence that we need, how is it possible that there are only 120 people working at this mine? So that was the first question that I had. The second question that came to my mind, and they showed those people. I'm trying to show pictures, but I'm not able to. Anyway, so the second thing that came to my mind before I even talk about other things that shocked me was that one of the people that was interviewed said that now they produce 8 tons and that they are trying to get to 20. And then they showed someone else saying that they produce 7. They are trying to get to 14, like you said. Now, I looked up when Rwanda became the largest exporter of coltan. This video is from 2 days ago, right? And I looked it up. Rwanda in 2013 became the largest exporter of coltan. 2013. And I looked up how many tons does Rwanda export, in a year, and I see they export between 8,000 and 9,000 tons annually. Between 8,000 and 9,000 tons annually. And this person at this mine is talking about producing 8. Another person said 7 tons a month. And I was doing the math. I'm like, this math is not mathing. Like, this addition is not adding up. I'm not implying anything. I'm just going by the video that you said that we should watch. Now, let's leave all that aside. There's a part in the video where they interviewed a Chinese man, and he said um, they are building, they just built the first mine. This is in the same video you told us to watch. He said they just built the first mine.
Maybe
And
it's the first
then
mine from their company. Because how can you say you
he
just built
didn't
a mine
he
when
didn't
you're saying other
say
mine?
he didn't say you are the one that told us to watch this video, my brother. There's no need to be upset. He didn't say the from their own company. He said they just built the first mine and that they would be building another one as part of phase 2. Hmm? He said that in the video. Now, another thing that shocked me was the kind of equipment that I saw that they were using because I was looking for the high tech stuff. This story is supposed to be how they are using high technology to um high tech to mine. So I was a bit surprised that I wasn't seeing the high-tech stuff to mine. Let's see. This is one of the videos that I saw. They were talking about granting, in that same video, they were talking about granting more mining license, that they just discovered new. Okay, now I'm able to share. I'm able to share my screen, I think. Okay. So they were talking about discovering more. A 2017 study revealed that Rwanda has 52 areas containing minerals. So it is 2017 that they are still doing study to find where there are minerals based on the video that you sent to, and that they are going to grant more license. But as of 2017, so the next picture after that, which I'm still trying to figure out how to put in the on the screen, it said that they've already granted license to a cooperative private mining, and now they are trying to grant more access. Anyways, I mean,
You,
grant more
you
license.
remember when I said that a lot of the mines are prospecting? That means they have not started to mine them. And
Yes.
that's
And
what
you
this
can see
video
people
is
mining
is
here. You can see one
confirming.
of the companies mining here.
So that was surprising to me. Now let me share the other pictures that I just screenshots that I took. Again, this is me just looking at this objectively, like, okay, Rwanda is, they have their own mind, they have Coltan. Let's see it, because you told us to go and watch this video. And so that's why I watched the video, and that is why I'm bringing all those things that I saw from the video. Okay, so then I saw other pictures. By the way, this right here is the picture of the Chinese man that said, um I'm sorry, that said that they've started the construction of the first processing plants, and that they will get another. This was the Chinese man, so please, I did not make it up. um I'm almost done. Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm just going by the things that I saw from your from the video that you told us to watch. So maybe you also need to be more open-minded. Nobody is here to attack you. The one that I'm sharing right now is one of the technologies that they are using at a mine, at as the largest exporter of coltan in the world. This is one of the technologies that they are using. I was expecting more, for lack of better words.
Hey, this
I was
is real life. This is no Wakanda. It's like real life. This is how stuff works in Africa, you know. You cannot expect Rwanda to have the same equipment. Sorry, somebody needs
Okay.
to mute
This
them.
is another picture. This is a sack under. I'm just trying to show the things that I saw in the video, in terms of how they are mining. And then I just have maybe like two more pictures. Sorry. This is another picture from what I saw in the video. If you look at the background, for a country that is the largest exporter of coltan, honestly, I thought that their mine would be way more advanced. Again, I'm not throwing shade. You told us to watch this video, and I'm just giving my opinion after seeing the video. And I think this is the last picture that I'm trying to share. These are screenshots that I took from the video that you told us to watch. Behind this man is why the mine that you told us to watch is behind this man. It doesn't look it doesn't look like the biggest exporter of coltan. No, it doesn't look to me like it's coming from here. I may be
No,
wrong,
that's not the
but
whole company. Maybe like that's just one company. There is a lot of companies mining in Rwanda. That's what I'm trying to say.
May I just jump in?
okay, okay.
So looking at one video, maybe expect what? Maybe 30 companies, 40 companies, 50, who knows the number, you know?
Wait,
Okay.
That's just
So you're
something.
telling us there are more, it's just you just sent us one, but there are maybe like 40 others that will be able to join their
Can I,
production with the 8 to 10 tons that they are producing here, right? To
Yes.
make 8,000, to make between 8 to 9,000 tons
exactly.
a year. Okay.
Be like 400.
Who is
You know,
laughing?
can I say something?
Oh, is that
It's
I
Congo
mean,
the
I
not.
want that to
Duke?
make
It's not.
sense.
Please, go ahead, Congo the Duke.
Yes, yeah, just to chime in on what you just said. Yeah, so if we go back math, 8,000 in 2013, these people, this particular company mentioned about 20 tons. So, and if you have to go by constant logic, you know, and we keep the same rate, so there should be about 400 mines or 400 companies mining coltan in Rwanda. And I believe if there was such a staggering number, like 400 mines or 500 companies, the Rwanda propaganda machine will be all over touting the fact that it has 400 mining companies, you know, mining the coltan. So that's just one aspect. The other aspect too is this, just like Claude mentioned earlier, the prospecting, right? So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes you don't find anything. And I just want to call your audience to the fact that about a month ago, Rwanda also claim or declare that they found oil in Lake Kivu. And then they had to backpedal a week later. Well, no, be prospecting. So it's just to show that this government is really good at PR, right? It's all about the bluster and say we're doing this and we're doing that. But when you really look at the, you know, you scratch the surface, you really see that, you know, it's really not, you know, it's a house of cards essentially, and it's gonna crumble, you know, sooner, hopefully, but it looks like it's gonna be later. And another thing too, because I had a lot of things that I wanted to say, but I guess I want to go from the last part that Constant mentioned about the agreement between Abiyarimana and Mobutu. It is true that during the genocide, they led Hutu militias into the Congo. That's true. But what I'm thinking, what I keep asking myself, and I saw that question too in the chat. So the genocide happened in '94. I mean, if you look at the picture or the videos of Kagame back then, he was young. He must have been maybe what, late 20s, right? So that is probably like 60. So are we talking about the same people who tried to attack Rwanda? And then I'll go even further. I haven't heard over the last what, since the end of the genocide, Rwanda being attacked by anybody. Not even I don't know. Not even like an attack like a
That's because you're
militia
not looking
attacking
at
the.
it. That's not even.
No,
You're
no,
not looking for it.
no. I mean, well.
I mean,
One can
Nazis like, did the genocide in what? In the 45, right?
no.
But there's like Nazis
90,
right now. You can go like in the US, you know, the genocide happened in Germany. There's Nazis in the US. You know, it's not crazy to have an
wait,
ideology
wait,
and
wait,
keep
wait.
recruiting, you know.
No, but you see, no, but you see, my point here is this: is that
You cannot
you
say,
and your
oh, all
government
the
claim that
genociders died because you keep
no,
recruiting.
no, no. But wait a second. But wait a second. So let me make my point. I'm just going to answer that right away. Right. So if you use Nazis, those who fled Germany to hide in Argentina, Brazil, and so on and so forth, can you really say that they represented a threat to the Jewish people when they were hiding in Brazil and in Argentina? How old are they? I think they caught a guy there who was like 80 something years old. Now, you can try to find them and prosecute them. That's one
I'm
thing.
not
But
talking
then
about
say
the
that,
old guys. I'm talking about the young people that go and like do crimes all over. They
well,
go and they
no,
shoot people. You know, there is modern
yes,
day
and it's actually,
Nazis. You don't need to be like 80 years
yeah,
old to be a Nazi.
well, that is true. But what we're talking about is existential threat
Adiola, you
to
muted
the point
yourself.
where, no, wait a second.
Constant,
Wait,
sorry, are you saying that the children of the perpetrators of the genocide have continued
No
to
children. You know how it works. These people keep recruiting, you know, just because like one person is old doesn't mean you cannot keep recruiting, like, you know, child
but,
soldiers.
so there is actually, and this I haven't verified. Maybe somebody can verify this. There's actually a UN report stating that Rwanda, the regime of Kagame, were training those people and sending them back into the Congo so they can then pretend that they're FDLR that they're going after. So there's that level. So it's just to kind of continue this gravy train of
Okay.
perpetuating the conflict. But
I
like other
think
people also have stated,
I think I need to thank Constant and allow the last two people we have in the studio to make their contribution as well. I think it's time to thank Constant. Honestly, I've enjoyed having him on the show today. He brought a lot of perspective to this, and if there's nothing else, at least he learned to speak to us, as adults instead of just yabbing us in the comment section. So I definitely enjoyed having you here, Constant. And this video that you sent to me, you can be sure I will do a story about it. For people to see why Rwanda
Somebody in
is
the comments said,
huh?
if you look like Nazis and the FDLR genociders, just because the genocide thing in Germany happened a long time ago doesn't mean doesn't stop people from
Oh no,
creating
no, it
little
doesn't.
communities.
We're not denying that it happened, but we are also saying that there is
And
one going on right now that it looks
no,
like
people,
you don't
so
want us
people keep saying
to.
the FDLR threat is not real, but I can tell you, Rwandans are worried about that.
Yeah,
That's
but
why
do you
people
but do
support
you know
Kagame.
that there's a genocide going on right now in the DRC, and that more than 6 million have been killed? Are you
The
aware of
genocide,
that?
yeah, against the Tutsi. These people are killing the Tutsi in DRC. The Tutsi are
So
defending
the
people.
6 million that died in the DRC, they are Tutsis?
Well, first of all, the 6 million that died, you need to have proper documentation. If you go to Rwanda right now, there is museums. They can show you. They can show you the
Wait,
dead
are
bodies
you
and the bones.
disputing that
There's
at least 6 million Congolese people have been killed? Are you disputing that?
well, I'm not saying they all died as a consequence of of the attack, but maybe they died of hunger. Maybe it was famine. There's many reasons. But
Okay.
people
Thank
that were
you.
killed,
Oh
it
my God.
wasn't 6 million. You
Thank
know,
you. So maybe they died of hunger. Okay.
yeah,
Adela,
because the country is unstable for 5 years. There's gonna be hunger. There's gonna be many reasons. There's gonna be outbreaks.
Okay,
So just throwing a number
okay,
out
can
there
we
and
use?
not showing the results.
Okay.
That people did this
It's
and
it's
that.
such a shame that you do not have your video camera up today of all days, but
You'll have me next
we
time
should
This
give
is
you
you.
post something like this.
Congo debut. Please say what you wanted to say, and then I will let my guest respond to him, and then
I
we
mean,
can let him go
I
so
would,
that we can bring in the other people that are
yeah,
trying to get inside the studio. So please respond to him real quick.
I almost got a heart attack here, but I
Me
mean, like
too.
those 6 million people are not human beings. I mean, even they die of hunger. But what
Wow.
what
Why are you
what's the
laughing? It's not laughing matter.
wait. So
We
we
are
need
not
proper
laughing,
people.
Constant. We are in
Like
shock that you think about 6 million people in Congo just died of hunger, or like it's like you are denying
I'm
that
not
more than
saying there
six million
wasn't
exactly.
people.
I'm not saying there wasn't any killings, but I'm just saying
Okay,
six
so
million people did die as a
the
consequence of
few
those
killings
killings.
that happened, who do you think was responsible for the few killings according to you?
It was war. It was it's called the African World War. It wasn't just Rwanda.
So
It
Many
wasn't
countries
like
were
just
involved.
Rwanda. Are you saying
What?
Rwanda is involved? Because now you're saying it wasn't just Rwanda. Because you said Rwanda was not involved. But now you're saying it wasn't just Rwanda. My brother,
Yeah,
you are
because everybody
implicating
wants to
Rwanda. Oh.
make this about Paul Kagame.
But
And
you
it's not
just
just Paul
did.
Kagame. If you're
You
gonna
you
bring Paul Kagame's name,
implicated.
then say
Oh.
Chisekedi, say about everybody.
Yeah,
You know,
you just implicated your president too. I don't think you intended to, but you just did. You said it wasn't just Rwanda. My
okay,
brother, be
okay.
careful.
If we're gonna speak literally about what happened, our president was in the office. He wasn't doing those killings. Maybe
Oh
that's
wow.
what I'm saying. Stop twisting my words.
Oh,
You're
okay.
twisting my
Sorry,
words.
I didn't take your words. All right. Anybody else wants to respond to him before I really
I mean,
appreciate him. I would love for him to come back on this show.
I mean,
Anyways, go ahead, my
but
brother.
honestly,
Say something.
that is the reason why a lot of those people, don't like to come online, because when you take your words, to scrutiny, you scrutinize what he's saying, it doesn't hold water, right? So he's just dancing around. So 6 million Congolese people who died, doesn't measure up to the 800 Tutsi, and moderate who dies in 1994. Is that what is he suggesting? And then the other thing too is this. So then, what was the paperwork in 1994? How do we even know it was 1 million people who died if we have to go paperwork by paperwork? I mean, like this thing, somebody said that earlier. It's very true that the Congolese government is incompetent, and just like Claude said, those two things can be true, but we just want our country back, right? We want to be able to organize ourselves and then make our country benefit the Congolese and the whole Africa. That's what we want. And for years, for decades, we haven't been able to do that. Even now, as you look at the way our government is set up, it's always foreign interference. They want Congo weak. They want. I mean, everybody wants Congo weak. And we just
Okay,
need to breathe a little bit,
let me
organize
contradict
ourselves.
you about like the 6 million again. So World War II and the Holocaust, these 6 million Jews died, but we can there were like so many victims in World War II.
All right.
We
I
don't
think
just focus on,
let's allow Clouds to speak, and
Yeah.
then we would round this up.
So he talked about proper documentation of the people who died. There's a report that came out called the UN Mapping Exercise Report. It came out in 2010, October 1st, 2010. It documents only only the most serious incidents, and it documented 650 something. It was over 600 incidents, and those are just the major massacres. And it was between the years 1993 and 2003. So that's not accounting for the last 20 years, 22 years. Um, the way that document actually started, it was because they discovered mass graves in multiple places in the Congo. So the documentation is there. Like the people who actually have died, have been killed, are there. And then there's been Congo is one of the richest countries, even by soil, like in terms of food production and things like that. So for 6 million people to die of hunger, how were they subjected to the hunger? Because it's never happened in any
okay,
time
I
in
can
the
tell you what
history of
Wikipedia
Congo.
says.
No, no, no.
Excuse me, you are
Let him
not gonna.
speak, please.
Yeah,
Let him talk.
excuse me. I'm responding to the stuff that you're peddling that is incorrect. There is proper documentation. There has been more than 6 million people. They actually stopped counting back. Like when we talk 6 million, this is from like 2005. So since then, people are still being killed. Since then, you have Rwandan troops going in there, and first thing they do is amputate the genitals of Congolese women after after they rape them. These are things that are still happening today by the thousands. And if you count the number of thousands of people that are dying a month, it's way past 6 million. And so the other thing is proper documentation and humans are being killed, like to acknowledge that something that a genocide is happening to people, that is something that somebody's just trying to push and say do not recognize this. The crimes against the Congolese people are real. You can hear from the people themselves who have suffered them. One of the books that I have here, The Power of Women, this is by Dr. Denis Mukwege. What he does, he is a gynecologist. He fixes women who have been
Mhm.
actually who've been
Yes, raped.
you know yeah, raped and cut up, and his clinic is full. So there is like real documentation. There's
Does it
real
say the
things,
number of
and
women
then
that were
in the mapping report, one of the things that the mapping report says is that if it was to be taken to a court, Rwandan troops will be found to have committed genocide in the Congo. That's not my words. That's the UN saying that. And so to talk about proper documentation and to minimize the killings of the people, like let's say
Yes.
the invasion started in 1996. Okay, before 1996, how many millions of Congolese had died of hunger? And
there
all
are
of that
two
stuff.
Congo
So
wars,
all of
right?
that,
What you're
this is
talking
all to
about is the
say
second Congo War.
we
The
cannot
first
sit
Congo
Oh,
here
War,
and minimize
no, no,
the
no, no.
killings and the deaths of people. There are many ways genocides are perpetrated. I recommend there's a film about a genocide in northern Uganda called a brilliant genocide. That's the name of the film. They didn't just go in there and just massacre the people. They created conditions. You can create conditions to where people are either unable to give birth or they die slowly, either through hunger or other conditions. So as long as you create the conditions for them to die in that way, You are responsible for committing a genocide.
All right. So to round this up, I wanted to say real quick.
Could I just chime in? I just want to add a couple sentences. And you see, as a Congolese, right? This is what we've known because I'm actually from the eastern part of the country where the war is happening, right?
Oh,
This is baptization of the country. So the whole purpose of the war, yes, plundering is just financing it, is to empty that area so that Rwanda can take over and it has this. Because let's face it. When you see the density of population,
area.
when you see the density of
I
population,
just muted you. Please stop interrupting. Please go ahead.
yeah. So when you see the density, when you see the population in Rwanda, per feet, it's just and some of them still in Uganda and Tanzania. So the idea is to clear all that area so that then in future negotiation, I don't know what the grand plan is. Those people can then now inhabit those areas. Now, when you talk about genocide and you talk about some Rwandan people talking about the need to protect themselves, when you're killing more than 6 million people, what do you think you're achieving? Is it going to be lasting peace? I don't think so.
Now, is it
Because
confirmed that Rwanda
all these people dying, what you say is that your leader is the
Okay.
wrong person because he's just
I
fostering
just want to say,
never-ending cycle.
I was literally just saying it's almost 2 hours when you told us to watch the video. Now it's almost 3 hours, guys. Can you believe? Please and please, I forgot to say this since we started the show. If you are yet to subscribe to my channel, please subscribe. These are the kind of stories that we do to hopefully enlighten all of us Africans, because at the end of the day, we are all one, whether we like it or not. We have so much more in common. We may not speak the same language, but we have a lot in common. And if we don't unite as Africans, how will our continent ever take its rightful place in the world arena? So please subscribe to my channel if you're yet to, and please share this video so that more people can watch it. Mr. Constant, I want to personally thank you from the bottom of my heart and the heart of my bottom. So thank you for coming here and enlightening us, sharing your opinion and your views about this. Honestly, I even though he didn't turn on his video camera, I think it takes a lot, for him to come from just commenting to actually coming in the studio. And if we did not have anything, at least now we know that they also have mind in Rwanda. It may not be the kind of mind that we were hoping to see with the way that you painted it, but at least now we know that. I'm trying not to laugh. Because I'm not making fun at all. But at least now we know that they are producing at least 8 tons every month. Even though they are exporting between 8 to 9,000.
You don't just dig one hole and then you say, "Oh, that's what we produced."
No, but you told us to watch that video. That's why.
Yeah, I'm not okay.
At least you know that there is one of many, according to you. At least there is one where they produce at least 8 tons every month, even though they are exporting about 9,000 tons in a year. So honestly, I have been educated. Mr. Congo the Bout, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing your experience, especially being from that region where there has been unrest for decades now. So thanks for joining us. Real quick, just to round up, I'm going to Constant, I need to let you go. Thank you so much for joining us. But I'm going to let in to Niger, and the very last person, I don't know, Koja, you keep going in and out. I put you in the studio and then you disappear. Koja has been here for hours. Can Koja, real quick, Koja, please tell us what you wanted to say before you disappear again. I've been trying to get you in the studio. It's like you are in and out at the back end. Koja, please go ahead real quick. Sorry to Niger, we're coming to you.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for giving me the time to say my piece. I'm originally from the Buganda Kingdom, found in Uganda. Uganda is made up of 16 nations: Bunyoro, Busoga, Bugisu, Chigezi, and all the rest of them. The issue what we've got right now in Uganda is that the people that we knew as refugees, Tutsis, who include Kagame and Museveni, have recently started to claim more land that is not theirs. And it's the same issue in Congo. It's the same issue wherever Tutsi are found, basically, in the Great Lakes. Because, like I said, from
from a Muganda's perspective, they came as refugees. That's how we knew them. We helped them settle there. You see? So fast forward 35 plus years later, they've committed countless atrocities in that region, and they're continuously spreading, growing more and more, I guess, arrogant, more and more aggressive, all being sponsored by the UK and the rest of them. So I know this for a fact because my own family was attacked by Museveni's group in Luwero Triangle, which was a massacre that consumed over 500,000 people. And my family was more or less involved in that. So again, when you hear these Tutsis try to say we're natives or this is our land too, those are all lies. That's what you call ubwenge in their culture practice of lies and deception. You see? And they've been known to do that. So don't listen to those lies and follow the truth, which is that they have no ancestral ties to any land in the Great Lakes.
So
That's where I stand.
where do they belong then? You know,
These guys migrated from the I guess Horn of Africa, they say. And when you speak to some Somalis and Ethiopians, they say, yeah, those are our cousins.
But
So
when?
again, I guess close to 300 to 200 years ago.
Wait, Constant is still here?
I mean, like, he can just come and say things without anybody, like, you know.
Challenging.
I mean, it's just like,
okay,
they know these are facts. They know these are facts, though.
Yo, Gatebuti,
Cloud,
are
do
you
you want to
Somali?
say something?
Rwanda, are you Somali? Do you agree with him?
Constant challenges.
They
And for
they can't say anything because they know this is the truth.
No, I just want to ask your host, Mr. Claude. Claude, are you Somali?
It's Cloud.
It's
right?
Claude. It's Claude.
Okay.
Are you Somali?
This guy is gonna argue about
Are
everything.
you asking if he's Somalian when you
No,
literally
because this guy
on
is
this
like
show you say he's not a real Rwandan and you ask him to speak the language.
I wanted proof that he's Rwandan because there is like
he
people
spoke
that
the
go.
language and now you're asking if he's Somalian.
And I
No,
know
because-
consent is made this so interesting, but honestly, the distraction and the deflections are not necessary. Because here we are talking about an ongoing genocide, and you over here
Okay.
asking me if
But
I'm
like-
Somali. I don't mind being a Somali or anything. I'm an African. I'm a
But
black
do you have
person.
ancestral
I can
ties
be a
in
black
Somalia?
person
Because that's
from
what Claude
any
just said.
place. You know that really is irrelevant. That doesn't matter what country you might label me from. I love being black and being
You don't
an
love being
African.
Rwandan.
And so it does not matter. You can call me Rwandan, you can call
But
me
you don't love being
Somalian,
Rwandan.
you can
I
call me
love
South
being
African,
Rwandan. Do you love
you
being
can
There's
call
no
Rwandan?
need
me
to fight. There's
whatever.
no need to fight. My brother,
Yeah.
you can be Rwandan and still be a proud African. I can be Nigerian and still be a proud African. But
Sis.
for you to insinuate that him saying that he loves being a proud black
No,
African doesn't
no.
make him a Rwandan, that's not fair.
No,
Let me
because
thank you so
just-
much, Koja,
Sis,
for what you said.
I just wanted
I
to say one last thing.
yes.
Like I said earlier about the country Uganda, you might call it as Uganda, the country. That's, to me, that's a colonial project because we've been resisting that name ever since it was put on us. We've always identified as Buganda, Bunyoro, Bugisu as our separate nations because we have territory, we have our own land, our own customs and laws that we want to protect. So when you call us all Ugandans, it takes away our sovereignty. And then Museveni and other presidents can hide behind that name and commit atrocities in our name, basically. I'm not responsible for what Museveni is doing because I know it's his particular tribe that's actually responsible for those crimes. You see? So we got to get rid of, I don't identify as a colonial project. And I recommend other Africans stop doing that because this is another reason why Tutsis have been hiding behind that name, Rwanda. They can say, "Oh, I'm Rwandan," but which ethnic group are you? Like, Do
I
you know
don't
what I
have
mean?
an ethnic group. I'm Rwandan, just Rwandan.
Are you
Um,
Tutsi?
I
Are you
am
Hutu?
taking you out one more time, Constance. It's nice having
No,
you.
I'm
Thank
answering
you.
his question. Can I answer
We
his question? He
got to
asked me
He
identify the
didn't
ethnic
true
ask
group.
you a
owners.
question though. Cloud, do you want to say something to what Koja said
No,
real quick?
this Koja is saying what ethnic group I am, you know? Claude, you
Just
muted.
the only thing I would like to add to what Koja said, uh, he he talked about the massacre, and I'm sorry for you about your family losing people in the Luero Triangle massacres, Koja. But in the Luero Triangle, this was in the 80s when Museveni he lost an election in 1980 or 81, started
Just
a war,
quickly,
and
just
then
quickly, he was not a citizen at that point. He was actually a refugee. He was
From
not
what
a citizen.
country? I'm asking you from what
okay.
country? He's a
Yeah, and
Ugandan.
then he started a war in Uganda. He
An
recruited.
invasion. An invasion. Let's get it right. Please.
So,
That
sorry,
was an invasion.
you're out of the studio, so please
Yes.
go in.
So now, in this, he called it the Bush War. In the Bush War, one of the tactics they used was um, massacres, whole massacres of people, and then blaming it on their opponents. And they would do false flag operations, which they also used in the war in Rwanda in between 1990 and 94. They're using in the Congo today. So they perfected the methods, the false flag operations. There is a method of killing that is very gruesome that the RPF, Kagame's party uses, his military uses. It's called agafuni, and I think in Uganda they call it kafuni. It's an old hole, like a gardening hole, and they basically bash people's heads in with the hole. They tie them behind their back. It's called that method is called kandoi. And then after they tie their hands behind their back, they hit them with they usually put them next to a mass grave, and they line people up. They put them, they tie them up. And this is
Sorry to cut
Kagame's
you.
and Museveni's method. And then they line them up next to like a mass grave, and they just bash their heads in, and they fall into the mass grave. Bash their heads in and fall into the mass grave. That's one of the other methods that was perfected in this Luwero triangle, with
Mm.
Museveni and Kagame. Kagame was a Ugandan soldier when the Rwanda invasion actually started. He
A
was in the
refugee, you
US
know,
training as
was
a
a refugee.
Ugandan. Okay, so he had a Ugandan passport when he came to the US, to the
How did
US
he get that?
as in training at Fort Leavenworth before the invasion of Rwanda. And then he came back and he led that rebellion. And then eventually, of course, they went to, they started from Uganda to Rwanda and now to Congo. So that's all I wanted to add to what Soja was saying. But I'm sorry for
Okay.
the loss of your family.
To Niger, please. Let's allow you to have the floor. It's been real, but I will not be here for exactly 3 hours. It's 2 hours, 52 minutes.
Don't worry, I need 2 hours to make my statement. It is what it is. Uh,
Uh,
greetings.
Yes, to Niger.
we finally have a Nigerian in the conversation.
Yeah, look at
To
them.
Niger, man. I
No, but
recognize the
I'm
voice.
so happy that we've had
Yeah,
people from the Great Lakes region.
um, yeah. Greetings, Adiola. I really
And we love
appreciate.
your background. Your
I
background.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. I appreciate the wisdom you have showed here today. I don't think anything would outshine it other than your beauty. To that knuckle
Thank
dragger that was
you.
trying to insult you.
Thank
All
you.
these people, I don't know where they come from. They just think they know what beauty is. All right. Regarding what I've heard today, it's been very troubling. I have to thank your guest for coming in today. Men of integrity like that, there are not that many. They will pretend as if they don't see the truth and they'll hide it, like many of the people in the chat. And the numbers I'm hearing is huge numbers of fatalities and suffering in that region. And if you hear the way a lot of people that come on are afraid to come on camera, that too is chilling and unsettling. And it begins to make West Africa look like a paradise. What is going on in that area needs some serious intervention. Our people have forgotten that they are their own brothers keepers. And we have to hold the Congolese accountable too, because they allowed this situation to get this bad. And maybe all of us, we're all accountable. We created a mess on the continent the way it is, where you have leaders not able to come together and fight for their own good. Because it's the commons, everybody knows if you work together, you do better. Why are we hearing that they are using hoes and having mass graves? How can we not figure that one out? Because foreigners are getting involved. It is evidently clear that Rwanda is exploiting Congo's weakness. And it's also evidently clear the Congolese government is completely useless. What are we going to do about it? Because I see that in Nigeria too. I see that in many parts of Africa. It's like the opposition and the government, they are just completely useless bunch of people. None of them can build anything sustainable for our people. The way I look at it is that plague on both of their houses. Rwanda is poor. People just think, I don't know why people overestimate Kagame. The GDP per capita is less than that of Nigeria. And he is there exploiting his people, causing so much havoc in that region. Tiny population of Tutsis in the Congo, leading to so much chaos. How is this even possible? And many African countries, they just pretend as if they don't see it. Nigeria pretends, oh, Nigeria has its own problem. Kenya doesn't see it. Whenever South Africa goes there, they go there with 1,000. I don't know why they always send 1,000. I don't know what is this with these 1,000 soldiers. While other people, when they send people there, they send 20, 50,000, 100,000. And they'll just send people to go and solve the problem when you know they will not solve the problem. The issues in Africa is serious and it's coming from outside due to our weakness. That is just our problem. We are just too weak. We build weak nations that cannot defend themselves, that cannot be sustainable. That is why we are here arguing about Kagame. Kagame is a symptom. It's a symptom of a bigger problem. Where was the leader Tshisekedi when all this mess is happening? After all, he's got a country that is 7 times the population of Rwanda. Where was he? What is he doing with his people? Why is he not paying his soldiers well? Because I saw some of the videos where they said that he's paying mercenaries huge sums of money, but he doesn't want to recruit his own people to defend their own land. So for me, like I said, plague on both of their houses. And if I'm looking at from what I see on the ground, I'm going to go to micro level now. What I see on the ground is people that are struggling to survive. The Tutsis have problems. They want money. They want to survive. The Congolese are struggling to survive. Sooner or later, these leaders have to meet. And they have to. They don't have a choice. What other direction are you going to go? Kill each other to death? You have to, sooner or later, come together and discuss a way of doing things together. Because when you are working together, there is peace amongst everybody. Everybody is going to win, including all the tribes. So, for me, I don't know. I don't care about taking sides. Kagame is a criminal, just as much as Tshisekedi himself. And they are all useless bunch of people that have led our continent to this point. We should be valuing each other because nobody else values us. Nobody else does. If you go overseas now, they are looking for a way to throw you out as soon as they can and throw you. Even though some of these Tutsis that believe that people treat them as special people. Go to their continent, you find out how special you are. They don't care about any of you. They will leave you to suffer the way Africa is suffering right now. All we can do, all we have is each other. We have to be talking to each other. Whether it's Tutsis, whether it's the other side, we have to figure out the way to do it. If those people, that the elements that refuse to do the right thing, keep winning, we are all going to lose. This man, this guest with integrity here, people like that should be winning. We have to have people with integrity winning, not snidey people, tribal, ethnic supremacist people, hateful people winning the argument on the continent. Every society we are in, we have to be criticizing them. When they come, they want to divide, you have to criticize them because sooner or later, those ones like this gentleman that is here, they will rise up. People like Adiola, they will be able to guide people to meet and have reasonable conversation. That's how societies are built. Oyibo people, they killed each other. They killed each other in the millions. And then they came together and built the EU, built NATO. They keep signing agreement after agreement, how they can cooperate with each other. It's like, don't you people know each other? Why are you still signing new agreements? Yeah, they keep signing new ones. If you check it, you will see so many agreements they signed even last year. They are signing agreements to cooperate with each other even more. And yet, they too can be very, very tribalist. Make no mistake, Europeans can be very tribalist, and they've proven it time and time again. But yet they know when they work together, they all benefit. That's the lesson we all need to learn from all this. Because there is no that way. If there is,
My
there is no
brother,
other
you
direction.
successfully got us to 3 hours. Thank you
Yes, yes. I
so
told you I needed
much.
3 hours. I've just started now. It's just 2 minutes. What is this now? We can't be doing this now.
Thank
Eh?
you so much for
So
everything
yeah,
you
I
said.
appreciate you. All those people that
You're
want to
like
badmouth you, they better watch it, because I know their type. I've had conversation with a lot of East Africans. They should not even come near you
you're
at
like
all.
the peacemaker that came to,
Yeah, if
get
they
all
want
of us
trouble,
to
you deal with
calm
them. People,
down
you need
and
gentlemen like
everything.
this.
And you're like,
Gentlemen.
hey, I've listened to both sides. This is what I think. So I really like
Yeah.
it. Okay, the very last person in the studio is Gaitan Unzowo. Gaitan, if you're there, you're the last person for today. Please let's hear from you. And I'm sure you guys have been seeing his comments, but Constant is not happy. He's been putting in the comment section that he's been saying, I don't like how I was silenced. He's been writing other comments as well that he had response to everything everybody else is saying, but that he was kicked out. Sorry, Constant, you were not kicked out. We gave you fair hearing. You were here for a really long time. So anyway, Gaitan, thank you so much for joining us. Please let's hear your view and then we can wrap up.
Hi, thank you so much for the floor. I've been listening. God let me know about this wonderful live, and I thought that I would just jump in. I'm an organizer for Friends with the Congo, but I'm also working as part of our Congolese Action Youth Platform, and we are behind the initiative of the General Cause campaign because we do believe what has been happening in the Congo is a genocide for economic gain. It could have been Chinese, it could have been any other nations, or even folks. I see that people from Nigeria in that in that region, soil of worth of $24 trillion, it would have been the same. And I don't even know where to start. But if I have to start, if you can allow me to start from like at the beginning, the very beginning, the way the Congo was designed. Congo was designed, the DRC was designed to be extracted. It was designed because of the resources. And at the time, we were talking about rubber, we were talking about ivory, and it was designed to be extracted. And the Congo was so rich that the nations decided that not a single country should be behind, should be leading the Congo, like we've seen, uh, for example, Ivory Coast being colonized by France. At that time, at the Berlin Conference, they said that they wanted one man to facilitate that transaction, facilitate what is or what it was known at that time as the free market for folks to just come in, nations to just come in and serve themselves. And 14 nations took part of that Berlin Conference. And they chose the King Leopold II, and the very first president who acknowledged the Congo as a Congo free state, free because of the exploitation, was Glover Cleveland, very first president. And then fast forward, because of few nations, I think there were six that they did not take part. They didn't get any cake. Allow me to use the word cake of any nations. They didn't have any colonies, including Russia and the United States, particularly those two countries. They then started to pressure internally and also doing certain pressure so that countries like Belgium, for example, would be able, the King of Leopold II will be able to cede and give it to the state, because the state then was able to control everything. But for them, it was really absurd. Like, how can you let one man control this vast region, actually own it and own the people and all the slavery there? So fast forward, we had Belgium, 1908, all the way to the independence of the Congo in 1960. And then when the Congo came together and realized that we need to create a Congo like we envision, which means a Congo free of discrimination, a Congo free of slavery, where the dignity of the Congo will be restored. And I'm saying that as a Congo citizen myself. And they elected Patrice Lumumba. And when he was elected, obviously the West did not like his approach, which was aligning with the same approach as Kwame Nkrumah and other leaders on the continents, he was assassinated. He was. It's not just how he was. It's not just that he was assassinated, but it was also how he was assassinated. The fact that they um, beat him to death. They beat him up, and then they shot him, and then they bury him. They took his body out of the ground, and then they cut him into pieces, and then place his remains into acid. And one of them actually took a tooth, which was substituted to the Congolese government a couple years ago. And all that was to show that when you dare to, stand up, against American interest, Western interest, there are consequences to that, and the brutality to which he was killed, and really speak volume of, just because someone was called quote unquote communist, and we see now even censorship people from certain countries just because they express certain opinions. But back to our conversation, then he was assassinated, and what did they put? What did the West put in place? They put a dictator, Mobutu. For 32 years, he led the country. And when in
I
1975,
hate to
he
interrupt
wanted to
you because
nationalize
I
all the
love this history
companies.
lesson, but I hate to interrupt you because I love the history
It's
lesson, but you need
it,
to get to the point.
I'll go really fast.
Okay.
Okay. Well, the whole point I'm trying to show, because I was really trying to guide people from the dictator Mobutu 19 from for 32 years of Mobutu to Laurent Desire Kabila, who was backed by Rwanda through FDL, and James Kabarebe being his army chief of staff, to his son who took over in a really miracle after his assassination in 2001. Actually, his assassination triggered a dialogue then that happened in Sun City in South Africa, and we saw how him, and then along with four vice presidents, including folks that were known to be backed by Rwanda, like Azaya Suberwa, ended up becoming vice president. And then until today, we have President Tshisekedi, because Joseph Kabila was in power for 18 years, and he only became inconvenient or or disturbing for the West when he started getting closer to China. And then we had President Tshisekedi, who got into power in a really weird way. But in all the steps of the way that we've seen two things. One is the omnipresence of the United States and Western powers. And I'm only saying United States, but what I actually mean to say is the United States, France, the whole European Union, and the UK, and also regional powers, which is Rwanda. The third actors, and I heard a brother talking about what the Congolese were doing, that the Congolese were not doing anything, is the Congolese elite themselves and the Congolese people. I would just say Congolese folks, because even during this 18 years of reign of President Kabila, the Congolese people were protesting. They were on the street, getting gunned down. And my father himself was arrested multiple times for exercising his freedom of speech in 2017, when he was demanding that the president at the time, Kabila, organize the elections. And we also had the same protest happening under Mobutu in 1992, February 16, actually, when we saw how his military killed Christians that were also protesting. And you see the exact same thing that happened until under Tshisekedi on August 30th, 2023, I believe, when we had folks in Goma that were protesting against MONUSCO. They were gunned down by Tshisekedi's presidential guard. And all that was to show that the Congolese population from 1960 all the way to today, they know exactly what they want. They want justice, they want democracy, they want peace. They don't want any backroom deal that the U.S. has been allowing or imposing to the folks. They don't want any militia backed by Rwanda or under the pretext of protecting a certain tribes, because Congo is really a vast country of 450 tribes, and there is discrimination of like all tribes. Like the Banunu were killed 500 people according to UN report, Amnesty International. 500 were actually killed, and you also have discrimination on the pygmy, and none of them actually took up weapons, right? Under the pretext of protecting themselves. So when we talk about the Congo, it's really important to define things. That one, when we talk about the international law, that there are borders that should not be crossed, international laws that should not be violated, and the Paul Kagame, his regime, Yoweri Museveni, have been doing. They have been actually violating the Congo sovereignty. They have been violating international law by invading, funding, and training, and actually sending boots on the ground in the Congo. And when we need to talk about the sovereignty of the Congo, it's also knowing that the resources that we have not been able to benefit the Congolese people because of two key or three keys actors: the West, the regional actors like Rwanda and Uganda, and also the Congolese elite. So that
Thank you. Thank you so
was
much.
my submission.
Thank you so much. That's eye opening. If you want to know more about what he's talking about, like the Patrice Lumumba episode, I know I did a story about it some years ago. It's still on YouTube. So just search for Adola Fayon Patrice Lumumba. You get to know more of how Belgium, to be precise, definitely orchestrated his killing and so on. And yes, the role of the West. That's something that we didn't get to talk about in depth on this episode. But just to round us up, before I thank my guest, I'm going to have him say one more thing. I've seen a number of people writing things like the Tutsis being compared to like Fulanis. And I'm thinking that this comment may be from a Nigerian, and this person is asserting that they also have such complex superiority complex, and that you all are not more important than others. Now, I am not insinuating that this person is right or wrong, but the only reason why I read that comment is, as much as it is very important for us to validate the genocide that happened in Rwanda, if you don't get anything else out of this show today, I think it is also very, very important for those that want us to constantly remember the genocide in Rwanda. It is also very important for you at some point to acknowledge that several genocides have taken place in the DRC, and no, they did not die of hunger. And 6 million people don't just die of hunger, like Constant was trying to say. And someone also corrected us that that estimation is not actually accurate, that it's about 12 million people that have been killed. So I want to thank everybody that joined me today, and I most especially my guests. Thank you so much to Niger for your insights. Thank you, friends of the Congo, for their history lesson, putting everything together for us to see that Congo was actually designed to be exploited. That's a really good point. And Cloud, I'll let you have the floor to give us your last, not your last word, but like, closing remarks. You're muted.
You said to give you my last word, and I thought maybe you saw somebody behind me from Kagame's regime.
No, 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 no. Your closing remark, please, my brother.
Yes. Yeah.
You grow, so you're not going anywhere yet.
I'm here. I'm here. And I also want to thank everybody that joined us and chimed in, to Naija, Geta, Constant, Kaja, and a few others, Patrick, and I believe Congo Debu, and there might have been one more, Mr. Ilunga, I believe, and Omkal. I forgot about Omkal. So I just wanted to really appreciate you guys joining the conversation, because we wanted this to be when I wanted to like have somebody challenge what was being said, and for people to really learn and see. And I'm glad that the challenges actually brought like more information forward, and that's what always happens. It makes people ask questions and check all of the facts. So one thing that I would like to end this with is a similar plea to what Tunai just said. Is a plea to um, really be people of integrity. Like Burkina Faso is a land of people of. I think that's what Burkina Faso means. Land of people of integrity. So let's be upstanders. I am a Rwandan genocide survivor, and that genocide was 30 years ago. It would be hypocritical, major hypocrisy, for me to see another genocide happening today and remain silent and continue to just talk about the genocide that I survived without acknowledging and recognizing what's happening today. That would be no lesson learned. I also think it's important for people to understand that regardless of the PR that we see from Museveni and Kagame, that we understand. I think Gatan really summarized it really well. The three players, the international community, the regional players, Rwanda and Uganda, and the Congolese government. It's really important to understand if somebody invades person's house and they go and they do all the harm that is that's happening, and 6 million people die and are killed. It's important that truth prevails and that the people who are harmed to get justice so that we can have lasting peace. We cannot have, there's a saying that the peace is not the absence of conflict, it's the absence of justice. And we really have to push for the Congolese people, the more than 6 million people, the estimates of 12 million people, that they get the justice that is needed so that the region can actually have peace. Spoke a little bit ago about, it was on a different platform, about the ceasefire that was signed. This was maybe last week or 2 weeks ago, or maybe it wasn't a sign, but it was a ceasefire that was declared by the M23, M23 being Rwandan and Ugandan troops that are occupying the Congo. I'd say this is not a ceasefire. They're not going to stop. All they're doing is the same methods they've been using since the war in Uganda, in Rwanda, and now in the Congo, of stopping so that they can regroup and start over. No more than a week later, they actually went and took over another town. And so we have to call out what we have seen. We have to look at the lessons from history and know that past behavior, we cannot reward war criminals and genocide perpetrators with praise or support, financial or military, because when you give a criminal resources, they commit more crime. And that is what's happening. And I like to, just to end this with this analogy, I like to use the analogy of the slave trade. Today, of course, people are still being enslaved in the mines in the Congo, much larger than those mines that we saw in Rwanda, by the way. The building back there. I mean, if you see the equipment in the Congo with, like in the mines, you'll see like serious equipment, not things that people are picking up with their hands. You can fill a bag with your own hands. Now, coltan is being traded. People are being enslaved in the Congo. Children as young as 10, 11, 12 years old are being enslaved in those mines by these companies that are exploiting the Congo. Back in the day, during the slave trade, the human beings were the commodities being traded, being taken from villages and sold in the Americas with businesses coming from Europe and European governments protecting them. It was legalized, it was order, and they did that for years. But some of the people who participated in it were Africans, and these Africans were generally the leaders, the kings and the chiefs. And today, those are the sellouts. Today, that is what we have with Museveni and Kagame in the region. They are selling out our sisters and brothers. And unfortunately, we have to call them out, and we have to call out their masters. This week, there was a turn of event where one of Kagame's generals was actually sanctioned by the US. And this is this is so different than the way the US has behaved in many years, because the US has completely protected Kagame and his regime and Museveni's regime from being pursued in the court of justice or even just like any kind of criticism. So the fact that the closest and most important ally is even like putting him on sanctions, the evidence is too overwhelming. And it's important the same way the anti-apartheid movement was important to our fathers and our fathers' generations. The Free Congo movement is just as important for the continent of Africa, because Congo, the heart of Africa, when it bleeds, all of us bleed. All of Africa bleeds. And the Congo is so important in so many different ways, ecological, like global, economy, food security for the continent, development. Like if we could all get electricity on the continent just from the Congo, and a free Congo will lead the way to a free Africa, and we should all be striving for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you to every one of you that participated on the show today. We've been on for 3 hours and almost 20 minutes. Thank you so much, Cloud, for joining us. There are some people in here who are saying that they really admire you, but that you should be careful. Kagame has agents all over the world. And once again, that brings me back to what I said earlier at the beginning, that why is it that if you know that what you're doing is right, and you're not guilty, why is it that you try to silence anybody that challenges what you are doing? So it's very sad that even though Rwanda is painted as a fast forward, a forward thinking country in Africa, the cleanest country in Africa, they are developing and so on, and they said that there is freedom, why should there be fear, to talk about their president or to challenge their president? That something is wrong somewhere if people are expected to be afraid. So that's not right. So on that note, I want to thank you all one more time for joining me. Thank you so much, Cloud, for making the time. Sorry that it went on for
Thank
three
you.
hours plus. Thank
Thank you, Adiola. I appreciate it, sister.
you.
And I really appreciate your platform and what you do for the whole continent. And I love your message where you always like, hey, we have all these problems, but we are all that we have, and we can do better. Let's do better for
Yeah.
ourselves. And that is the
Yeah,
message. And I
yeah.
really appreciate it.
Imagine if we're united, like let's just say like Europe. You know how you can go from one country to the other by road in Europe, and you can spend the same money. It's just I always wonder where Africa would have been if we see ourselves as one. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. For those who are saying in the comment section that I should organize another one like this, my people, do you see the time? It's like almost 3.5 hours. I have babies. Eh? I need to go and look after them. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a wonderful weekend. Bye.